Stanley, their starting legacy or the Lightning become a dynasty. And Kyle showed the New York Island reference to 83. And for historical context, I think there's a lot of similarities. That great team that doesn't want to release its grip on the cup. And then the next year, the Oilers finally from the top. Which is it going to be? Is it going to be the grizzled veterans from Tampa Bay or the new kids on the block?
That's what's amazing about this matchup and why everybody's so excited about these two playing each other. You know, when you look at Tampa Bay, they get tested in round one. They go to Game 7 against the Maple Leafs, and I think that win there in Game 7 gave them that belief and that result. The Colorado Avalanche have been focused right from the get-go. Only 2 losses to this point to get to 12 wins, 2 sweeps in their series.
All right, what's going on, everybody? I know we got about maybe 10 minutes to puck drop here, but I can get everything else settled as far as getting everybody in here, getting all the rosters and everything else put together. So let's do that right now, as the players are going to be coming out of the tunnel, and we're going to be doing the national anthem shortly here. So for the Tampa Bay Lightning, it sounds like this. Steven Stamkos, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, and Jan Ruda will be on that first-line defense. Anthony Cirelli, again, we know Brandon Hagel now has an undisclosed injury, so that's going to move some stuff around in the second line. But as Anthony Cirelli, Alex Killorn, Ryan McDonough's on defense with Eric Chernak, so we'll see if Ross Colton or Pat Maroon or someone else moves up on that side. Here was the development that we figured out. Braden Point has not played since Game 7 of the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's active tonight. He's going to play. So third line right now has listed as Braden Point, Ross Colton, and Nick Paul. Fourth line is Pierre Belmar, Pat Maroon, and Corey Perry, with Mikhail Sergachev and Zach Bogosian on that back end. And of course, the big cat, Andre Vasilevsky, is going to be in goal. For Nathan MacKinnon, on the other side of the Colorado Avalanche, it sounds like this. Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Brelin Nichushkin, Devin Tays, and Kel McCarr. Mikko Rantanen will be on that second line with Arturi Lehkonen, Andre Burakovsky, Jack Johnson, and Josh Manson. JT Compher, Alex Newhook, and Nicholas Aubé-Kubel with Darren Helm, Dylan Sekera, and Logan O'Connor. That's what I see right now. And we'll see what ends up moving on with that, as Bowen Byram and Eric Johnson will be on that third line. So again, things can change as far as some of these rosters that I see right now. But Darcy Kemper is good to go. 100%. What they showed on RotoWire, that was a confirmed lineup. So again, Hagel is out from day to day. Braden Point is ready to go tonight. And Cogliano and Kadri, they are out. Darcy Kemper is also ready to go. So that's everything that we know right now. So all that's left is puck drop. Probably about another 5 minutes or so. But I wanted to get all those rosters and everything else out there. Also wanted to make mention of this. Yesterday, we had a preview show that was put on YouTube and on Colorcast of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, just to go through some of that, we're going to have some of those numbers out there in front of you. But both of these teams, and this is to me, both of these teams have had a little bit different road as far as success and the teams that they've played and the stats that they've put up and all of that. You can argue, and I can say this, Colorado Avalanche don't care. They are in the Stanley Cup Finals. But when it comes to 12-2, you got a sweep of the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers on that side of things. So when you look at it, you kind of think of the aspect of, okay, they've only really been challenged one time. Is that fair or unfair to say? Really, the St. Louis Blues were the only team that gave them that kind of scare. And it was Game 6. And yes, they lost Game 5. They could have won in 5 and won in Ball Arena, but they lost 5-4 in overtime. But they came back in Enterprise in St. Louis and won the game. Game 6 closed it out. All the numbers and everything else that we talked about, I'll mention a couple of those. Nathan MacKinnon, 11 goals, 7 assists, 18 points, plus 12. Mikko Rantanen, 5 goals, 12 assists, 17.6 power play assists. Kel McCarr, 5, 17, and 22 with a plus 11. Team leader in points as a defenseman. MVP in bold, I think that's fair to say. So for Colorado, I'm going to put it to you like this. 5 goals for McCarr, 5 goals for Tays, 7 assists for Byram, 2 goals for Josh Manson, a goal for Eric Johnson. That puts you at 5, 10, 12, 13 goals accounted for on the defensive side for the Colorado Avalanche. That could be something to watch for in this Stanley Cup final. Again, when you talk about Tampa Bay, you might look at the list of names and you look at Nikita Kucherov or Ryan McDonough or Victor Hedman. Some other guys you want to mention, McDonough and Hedman on the back end side of it. Hedman is a guy that can get you a lot of points, no doubt about it. When you look at Victor Hedman's stats, it's 2 goals, 12 assists, 14 points plus 3, and 8 power play points. Well, who else on the Tampa Bay Lightning is going to get you points from defense? But I don't think John Cooper really cares about that so much as in comparison to everything else. Their defense on the Tampa Bay side, with the exception of Hedman, is more shutdown level oriented as opposed to the Colorado Avalanche. Not saying the Colorado Avalanche can't do it, but that is the form that it has to be done here for Tampa Bay. Their goal scoring is going to stem from Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, a Plot. Hagel's not available now with the day-to-day injury, so we'll see how that ends up working out. But Braden Point has returned. So those are some of your guys that have to do some of that heavy lifting, and we'll see if that's going to be the case. The one argument that you cannot make, if you want to give the offensive edge to the Colorado Avalanche on offense and defense, that's fine. But the one checkbox you can't is the goaltending. Andre Vasilevsky, a big cat again, 12-5, 227 goals against. He's really, really good, about a 930 save percentage. It was 39 goals against and 502 saves, 1 shutout, the 2-0 win over Florida. And he could be an MVP candidate. So that's what you have to watch out for. Let me get Cooper Hopkins in here right now as we're getting close to puck drop. So right now on the Sportsnet side, we're looking at the players trying to exit the tunnel right now. We're going to be going to the national anthem. So the Colorado Avalanche have had home ice throughout the entire playoffs. The only team that would not would be the Florida Panthers, but the Tampa Bay Lightning took care of them 4-0. So Cooper, welcome, man. I very much appreciated the fact that you can do game 1 here with me, and we're seeing the players come on the ice now. Lots of anticipation in this one, is there not?
My goodness, John, it is time for the Stanley Cup final. I mean, I can't believe it. It's mid-June. And if this thing goes 6 or 7, as I think it could, between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche, we're going to be looking at somebody lifting the most beautiful and hardest to win trophy in sports at the end of this month, right as we get into the heart of summer. John, I'm really excited to be here. It's the 2022 Stanley Cup final, game 1. And I know you've been setting this thing up for the listeners. And we're getting a great look here at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Who do you think's going to make some impact here as we get closer to puck drop, John?
Well, here's the thing for me that I want to watch out for. Maybe I'm kind of escaping the question here, but did you know that Braden Point is active here tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning? That is huge. He has not played since Game 7 of the first round against the Maple Leafs. I want to see what line John Cooper puts him on. But no question, if I was going to go ahead and answer that outright, I would say Nikita Kucherov, obviously for Tampa Bay. And I want to see on the other side how Nathan MacKinnon handles his first Stanley Cup final along with Cale Makar. Some young guys that are really, really good. And it's going to be fun to watch, man.
Yes, it is. And you know what? We are starting to become even more in sync, my friend. Believe it or not, I was actually setting you up. And I didn't expect you to take the bait fully. I didn't go ultra specific with my lead-in for you. But that was going to be where I'm going, too. Braden Point back for the visiting Tampa Bay Lightning. So you and I are of the same mind, my friend, and I know we're in for some exciting hockey here. And this is going to be a big, big game. I'm excited to watch how the goaltending for Colorado comes into play. A lot of folks talking about that with good reason. I think everyone can agree with the big cat taking the crease for Tampa Bay, and the Colorado Avalanche looking with, I think Darcy Kemper is taking the crease for the home spot. Am I correct?
He is 100% good to go tonight, according to Jared Bednar. So Darcy Kemper will be the starter for the Avalanche.
Yes, indeed. Now, obviously, the ice is tilted in the favor of Tampa Bay in the goaltending battle, you'd think, but Darcy Kemper has handled himself quite well, and I think that he's going to be re-energized and healthy. And his play will go a long way to determining whether or not the Avs can take a 1-0 lead here in this series.
Absolutely, Cooper. I had one of my buddies I went to school with since elementary school. He turned into a Colorado Avalanche fan because his favorite goaltender was Patrick Waugh. And he said to me that energy, as you said, he had that luxury to get that series off when it was Pablo Francois getting the sweep. Who knows with Kemper? If he ends up playing a little bit above his pay grade, it certainly makes this series a lot more interesting. Look, you and I can say it to the cows come home. We believe probably that the offense and defense just slightly could favor the Colorado Avalanche. Look, we're not discounting experience or anything else like that. If you go to Stamkos, Palat, Kucherov, you're really not downgrading too much in the area. But the goaltending situation definitely is the most important here for the Colorado Avalanche. That is where it could be a little bit suspect, 1A, 1B at times with Kemper and Francois. But who knows? He's got that time off now when Vasilevsky's pretty much played every single game all the way up to 3 straight years. There's not been a single appearance for Brian Elliott. So that could be something that we could be talking about throughout this series. I'm jacked here for game 1. And to be honest with you, I've kind of scapegoated my pick as far as what I officially taken because I want to see really what happens in game 1. I think it's going to go a long way in determining this series.
You're absolutely right. And while we're still getting through the anthem here, and we're just now about a minute or so away from dropping the puck here and getting started in game 1, I'm curious what you think about the coaching styles between the Colorado Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Very different styles of play, you would think. The Avalanche seem to play a little bit more of an open, obviously goal-scoring oriented style. And Tampa Bay, listen, they have shut people down. Now we're staring in the face of a dozen playoff series in a row. Their style is very methodical. They know how to slow down high-powered teams, and they score when they need to. Who do you think is going to have the advantage in terms of the coaching style in this series?
I would go with the air of caution and say the Tampa Bay Lightning in terms of all that. Look, the running and gunning, as you said, between some of the things that's been mixed in, it's kind of felt like the Battle of Alberta. I know it's not been that way of Calgary, but it's been 2 sweeps in the sense of Nashville and Edmonton. You need to err on that side of caution. If you're going to play run and gun with the Tampa Bay Lightning, you could be in trouble there. So the face-off puck drop is underway, and we're ready to go for game 1 here at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Colorado looking for that quick outlet on the second line for Jared Bednar's squad, and it was intercepted there by Victor Hedman. Alex Killorn trying to get this across the red line now and find an entry, but a little bit offsides there. So we get our first stoppage at 19:36 in the first.
John, I'm excited to see the play of Anthony Cirelli this evening. I mean, he has been a difference maker and has really come on in these playoffs. I'm going to see if there's some scoring opportunities for him tonight. He's flown under the radar, but I think that the Avalanche are going to have to keep an eye on him. That's somebody on my list to look at for a difference maker potentially in tonight's contest.
No doubt, somebody that's been buzzing around the net like crazy. Anthony Cirelli has been a little bit snake bit on the other side, but it's not for the lack of trying. The one development, like we said, that we found out with Braden Point being available, Brandon Hagel was out. He's listed as day-to-day, and Brandon Hagel is another one of those guys that's been good since coming up from the Blackhawks. He's been a little snake bit as well, but he's someone that I've seen his game pick up as the playoffs have definitely gotten extended here. And you and I are old enough to remember that the NBA Finals used to be the last thing going on, and now this Stanley Cup Finals is going to finish last. So we've had 3 straight icings pretty much within the last 20 seconds here. That's where we're getting a little bit of extended talking from us before getting into game time. But we could not be more excited here. Look, you can talk about some of these other series going a little bit short or just getting blown out and some of these other things, but you have a team going for a back-to-back-to-back against the other side of the team that's been the best in the West all year. So this is probably the matchup you could have asked for more than anything else. So Landeskog loses the draw, and it goes to Jan Ruda as they try to get this set out here. Victor Hedman trying to skating, going to leave it here for Nikita Kucherov. He's going to bounce this one off the kick plate. And Steven Stamkos was overskated here by Colorado. He's trying to find his way through 3 different jerseys. So the Lightning are going to be attacking left to right. They've been the road team in all 4 series, which is a little odd to say. Mikko Rantanen has it now, but the Lightning are going to be attacking left to right with the road white jerseys with the blue bolt in the middle and the blue pants. And then right to left for the Colorado Avalanche in the cerulean and maroon. Picked up now by Colorado in their own end as Kel McCarr and Devin Taves will play crisscross, and this goes back to Andre Burakovsky, the former Washington Capital. And this one gets chipped in 18:30 left to go in the first. We have no shots yet, as this is in the defensive zone of the Lightning, but they're trying to break out now. Point, getting his first action since Game 7 of the first round, turns it over. Mikko Rantanen might have something. Good back check off the backhand, and Vasilevsky makes the save. 18-19 in the first. So you get a quick example of that, Cooper, with the turnover and the north-south play there from the Colorado Avalanche. Mikko Rantanen, as easy as you like, backhand, forehand with the windmill deke with defense all over him, and Nick Paul. That was pretty nasty.
Absolutely, and thank you for stepping in for me there. I had a momentary issue with the app, but we're back in business and unmuted. That would have been not the most effective way for me to broadcast a hockey game on mute the entire time. So here we are with the players, I think, just starting to find their stride here as we're just about 2 minutes in to Game 1 here in Denver.
No doubt about it. That's we're seeing here with the first part for the Avalanche. We'll see if that can continue. Bowen Byram, he's been a really good young defenseman, along with Kel McCarr. Been one of the best plus-minus leaders in the team. Shot there from the point, picked up by Darren Helm on the fourth line nowadays for the Colorado Avalanche, looking for another cup. He's been good, though. This is pinballed off of the cage of Vasilevsky in Tampa. Just trying to get this thing out right now with 17:55 left to go in the first. Colorado is the first shot of the game. They've had some pressure over the last minute and a half. Stolen in behind the cage, another short side shot, and it was held by Vasilevsky. I thought it might have been blown dead. It might hit the glove. Now Anthony Cirelli has a couple of fists flying in the face of a Logan O'Connor as we get another stoppage with 17:48 left.
Good physical play right there from Helm. You mentioned him, and deservedly so. He looks very good here early on. Obviously, a tiny sample size as we're just about 2.25 minutes into the contest, but the Avalanche have felt comfortable here at home to start, and they seem to be very intriguing in terms of the way they're possessing the puck down in the corners. I'm watching players really get in on the deep forecheck down against the wall and taking shot attempts and chances whenever they possibly can. And Colorado has tilted the ice here to start.
Yes, they have. And the Sportsnet side wants to throw that slap in my face and say that Helm won the Cup with the Wings in 2008. So I know they're going to throw that one out there at some point. But maybe one of these Red Wings can get another one of the former liners. So this goes off the red line. Picked up now by Vasilevsky. He decides to play this one as it goes shakily across the red line. And see if Tampa can break out here with Ross Colton with the pass across. Going to pick it back up off the give and go. Shot goes wide of Darcy Kemper. Jan Ruda gets it in deep and behind the office of Kemper here. And now picked up. Braden Point off the backhand. Slap shot. And Darcy Kemper sees it through the screen. And Nick Paul's been all over the ice as well with a couple of cross checks on his side.
So Kemper's been called into action here. 17:10 to go in the first. That is the first shot on goal for Tampa Bay. And Kemper rightfully gets a tap on the pads. And we are looking at a bit of a tentative game to start here. I think both squads just trying to find a rhythm. And it took Tampa Bay a little bit longer to get going here, but that shot at the point was on the bullseye, right into the middle of the jersey of Kemper, and play is stopped, and we're about to get back to the action with John's play-by-play.
So Nico, Stern, and Belmar are out there on the fourth line now and trying to break out. Stern from O'Connor trying to pass across, and this gets broken away. Pat Maroon had to get this one down the ice before he had to go for a big check. And now Byram on the second line defense. Nice play ahead there. Stern has it now. Try to give us here for Alex Newhook. And this goes right in the catching glove of Vasilevsky. So a lot of small, short stoppages here with 16:44 left to go in the first, but that's fine. I know, Cooper, we've said we were looking for some auspicious starts in some of our series, whether it was the Battle of Alberta or the first game in between the Rangers and the Lightning, but that was nothing more than a goal fest. But this has kind of been the little tic-tac-toe chess match, so to speak, that we've been waiting on.
Absolutely, and I want to give you a quick shout out. Of course, John is very professional on the mic, but definitely a Red Wings fan. And I will never think of Darren Helm as anything other than a Red Wing. When I hear that name, I think of Detroit. We're back in action here at Ball Arena.
No, I appreciate that. He was one of the really good ones here, especially on that back end of it. When you have that speed and ability, that's just something that even Joe Sakic at this point for the Colorado Avalanche, that's a good get for them. And on the back end side of the fourth line, it would make a lot of sense, especially with Cogliano, but he's not going to be able to play today. But the Colorado Avalanche are really, really deep. Not to say that Tampa isn't, but one of those situations when you're losing Hagel, that's kind of an important piece to be losing. So a neutral zone draw, one here by the Avalanche, and Anthony Cirelli is going to collect this instead as they try to work their way across the red line. Picked up now by Byram as he tries to get through a series of stick checks there. Ryan McDonough. Shot goes off the right side of the bar, and this falls back to Devin Tays. Tried to play it there to Nathan McKinnon as McCarr was holding the other part of the blue line just in case there was a turnover. Now McKinnon needs some help. He got sandwiched in between two players and still got the puck loose. Now Tays from Landeskog. Tays in behind the office. And Chuskin was trying to join. And now Kucherov gets his pass down. And it was intercepted as Johnson will pick it up. The captain, Gabriel Landeskog, will circle back. He's going to pirouette now toward the right dot. Still in his own end. He's going to leave it here for Devin Tays, who safely plays this off the kick plate to Kel McCarr. He is one of the best defensemen in the league. Landeskog, nice entry there. Shot gets right on and stopped by Vasilevsky and goes up and out of play. 15:33 left to go in the first. It's 4-1 in favor of the Avalanche.
Well, my friend, I think it is safe to say that number 8 for the home squad has settled in. Cale McCarr, boy, it took all of 4 minutes for him to make his presence known. I want to make this very clear. Prior to that ripped shot that was at less than an inch of being posted in for Colorado, that truly another third or half of an inch, and that is in the back of the net. But prior to that, McCarr chips off the wall to himself near the blue line to keep that play alive. Cale McCarr, ladies and gentlemen, look out.
Yes, he is simply one of the best, and there isn't really another defenseman that can play like him. I understand he's got more burden on his plate from offense and defense, but he really is that good. He is the new generation of Bobby Orr, if you want to go back in the Wayback Machine. Crisscross pass gets deflected there by Tampa, stolen out in front. Darren Helm trying to find this in between the skates as it falls back to Josh Manson. Tampa just trying to get this out of their own end right now, but this is kept alive on the blue line somehow and picked in behind. And now I think they're going to call something here. And I'm going to need to get my ESPN box score just in case there's any penalties and stuff so you can follow along. Josh Manson looks to be going to the box for the Avalanche. It'll be the first power play for the Lightning.
Yes, indeed, John. I'm actually trying to review the play here myself. I'm a little unclear as to what happened there. I saw someone get in a little bit of a scuffle, not a scuffle, but made contact with Vasilevsky. But now I'm seeing we are having a holding call here. So it doesn't appear to be goaltender interference. And we're getting a look at the blue line he was hanging on to, I believe. Is that Andre Palat for Tampa Bay? Or no, Paul, excuse
Holding
me.
the stick of Nick Paul. That's what we got right now. 14:53 left to go in the first. Tampa Bay is on the power play. They're 14 of 62 in the playoffs at 22.6%. Again, that's not all that bad, but it's one of those numbers that Tampa Bay wants to be able to increase. But if you look on the other side, Colorado's penalty kill is only sitting at the 75% mark, and that definitely has to improve because Tampa can be just as dangerous on the power play. So crisscross here for Hedman. Kucherov screen out in front there for Anthony Cirelli, and the shot goes wide. Stamkos able to keep this alive across the kick plate. Nice pass across for Kucherov to Cirelli, but it went just wide. Hedman, slap shot from Stamkos, and it goes toward the right side as it picked up back by Kucherov. Hedman again in through the screen of Cirelli. Stopped there by Kemper and cleared out. So that was the first clear action here for Tampa Bay, and Darcy Kemper definitely answered that bell. 28 for 37, 75% on the penalty kill as mentioned. And 1:15 left to go in the power play. Andre Palat is going to leave this here for Point. Point's getting some power play time on that second line. Hedman and the high slot as this goes to Kucherov near the right dot. Inside the office, now back to Kucherov. Picked up now by Cirelli, and Kucherov will pass it across one more time. Still sitting in toward that left dot, looking for a cross pass right in the blue paint. Kucherov's going to have to go pick this one up. Tampa Bay calmly getting set up here. Hedman's pass was a little too hard for Cirelli, and Kucherov will still pick this up near to Hedman. High slot. Kucherov slapper blocked out in front beautifully by Colorado. Hedman gloves it down, gives it back to Kucherov, tries to bounce this thing. Palat sets it up off the slap shot, and it goes high off the kick plate, centered out in front. Picked up by the Avalanche and cleared down the ice where this goes toward the Big Cat. 25 seconds remaining on the Tampa Bay power play. What I like to normally say off the shots missed, I call that window dressing, but there was a lot of good puck movement there by Tampa. They had some good shots, and I think they should be pretty satisfied, even though they're probably not going to score on this first power play, be able to get that time and space to shoot. And Kemper's got to feel pretty fortunate here, be able to get some quick saves underneath him and get settled in this game, because this is a big first kill. So the Avalanche throw this one out. So Tampa does not score on the first power play. It's centered out in front toward the blue paint, and Colorado picks this up now. They can look at the counter. Darren Helm, and toward the left side blue line, gets knocked off the puck as this goes in behind the cage of Vasilevsky, and now picked up here by Tampa. Chernak trying to get this one down across the red line. Again, good movement here by the Lightning. Cirelli holding up the backhand, center out front for Chernak, and the shot goes wide. Kemper didn't know where it was for a moment, but it was at the right side of the red line. And now here's a chance for Bowen Byram. Look out, he's got some jets too. As he leaves us here from Mikko Rantanen. Shot goes in! It goes in and beats Vasilevsky 5-hole. 1-0 Avalanche.
My goodness, John. Right there, the puck sneaks through, and let's be honest, it probably should have been 1-0 Colorado anyway after they rang one off the post. Again, I can't make this any clearer for those listening. That prior shot that went off the post, a quarter inch, a third of an inch the other way, that goes in. But Landeskog makes it 1-0 for Colorado, and boy, oh boy, have the second 5 minutes of this first 10-minute portion of the first period been a different story. We had fits and starts as we got this game underway, but both teams, starting with Tampa Bay on the power play and now 5-on-5 for the Colorado Avalanche, both teams finding their stride, and a little bit of luck there as the puck bounces off of Vasilevsky's left pad and is tapped in by the Avs captain to score the first goal of this Stanley Cup final.
And that was a sweet goal that was being in the right spot at the right time. I didn't get the look of that until you gave me the explanation, and I saw it again. It was rolling across, and Landeskog drowning on the spot, probably going in anyway, but Colorado is up 1-0 here. So again, for all intents and purposes, Cooper and I can tell you this. There is no panic against Tampa Bay, but this is one of those ones I think if you're going to win a game one, win it on home ice, and Colorado has a good start to this one, but again, there's a long way to go. But I think the pressure here is on the Avalanche to be able to hold serve here at home because we already know what Tampa can do. But if Colorado can continue to bring this fight, that's going to be a good sign for them. Again, we saw that fight when we did game one against the Lightning and the Rangers, when the Rangers played one of the best games of all time at MSG, but that got turned over quickly. Turnover here now. Avalanche try to shoot this one to the right side of the post, and picked up now by Byram as he's trying to keep this alive. It was intercepted by Tampa in their own end as they look to break out, but it's 3-on-2 in favor of the Avs on the backhand side. Byram gets muscled off the puck as he got sandwiched in behind the cage of Kemper. And now here come the Avalanche. JT Compher trying to lead this across, and this goes back to the red line when this can be played by Devin Taves. So make no mistake about it with Cale Makar and Devin Taves. Again, Cale Makar makes everybody look good, but Devin Taves is exceptional on that side, as well as Bowen Byram. Good young defensemen on the Colorado Avalanche that know how to play the puck and know how to score. The Colorado Avalanche get about 12 or 13 goals from their defensemen just in the playoffs alone. This is back inside the cage of Vasilevsky to Victor Hedman. It's turned over. Nathan McKinnon with a nice centering pass. Another goal! Colorado makes it 2-0. And wow, this has definitely put a surprise on my face. 10:37 left to go in the first. 8 shots on goal for the Avalanche. Val Nichushkin makes it 2-0.
Boy, oh boy, from the high slot, that was just a simple wrister that, let's be honest, a goalie of Vasilevsky's level has got to have in the Stanley Cup final. He does not, and it is 2-zip here in Denver. What a shot, what a sequence. And even had the Colorado Avalanche not scored, John, I would have wanted to make note that after scoring their goal, they did not go back on their heels and say to themselves, boy, oh, way to go, boys, we're up 1-0. Let's relax and make sure we defend. They did the opposite. They went hard, they went for the body, they went for possession, they went for a shot, and that shot resulted in goal number 2, right under the glove.
And Cooper, to your point, we've seen that with some of the stuff with the St. Louis Blues having a 3-0 lead. Things can turn. Look, we understand this is game one in the first period, so maybe they're not as entitled to want to sit back because there's a lot of game left. But to your point, I absolutely agree with you. We've seen that from the Colorado Avalanche. I've not seen stuff like this. I understand goals and things like that. Colorado can score a lot of that, but they are beating Tampa Bay to the puck in a lot of areas. They're forcing turnovers. Again, I agree with you. That's one that Vasilevsky should have had. And I wonder what John Cooper is talking about, his assistant coach over there. You might be thinking if Colorado scores another goal and goes up 3-0, that might be time for a timeout. A 2-on-2 rush on the other side, in behind the cage of Vasilevsky, trying to get fought off, but this is picked up here. Copper trying to do some work in behind the cage. Nathan McKinnon also waiting toward the left side of that red line. And Chuskin's got his 6th of the playoffs at the 9:23 mark, assisted by Nathan McKinnon, the assistant captain. This shot goes off the body of the Avs. Andre Palat tried to play this one out front, but the Avs have had good defensive positioning. Picked up across the blue line side. Wrist shot into the screen. Stopped there by Kemper. And now here come the Avs. I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot. Nathan McKinnon off the backhand side, and I think we're going to have an offsides call. So 9:45 left to go in the first period here, Cooper. It is 2-0 for the fans of Denver and Ball Arena. This is insane.
Boy, and great calls on both scoring plays for the home squad, John. And listen, I think it's going to take another goal for me to fully jump into this territory, but as we head to a commercial break here, I want to touch on something that you mentioned a minute or two ago. You talked about game one between the Lightning and the New York Rangers.
Yes.
The Rangers played a game for the ages, as you pointed out. Their style, confidence, ability to finish and defend in that game was unlike anything I frankly have ever seen as long as I've watched that team play hockey. They were unable to keep that level up through the series, which is why they're heading to the golf course now, and the Lightning are looking for their 3rd cup in a row. But dare we even start to mention that this is starting here early in the game to look a little reminiscent of the Lightning and specifically Vasilevsky's performance in that game. He looked shakier than we're used to seeing him.
Yes.
The Rangers took advantage. There are some similarities here. What do you think?
I think you're spot on with that. I think from the very beginning of it, too, when you think about the first round series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, look, we understand between some of the other guys like Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares how dangerous this can be. Well, Colorado is on that same upper echelon. Maybe New York, maybe a little bit not so as much, but it's one of those things when you turn it around on the other side and you compare some of the best offenses, Vasilevsky's going to have to be on his game, and we'll be honest and say that maybe one of those should have been stopped. Tampa Bay hasn't really looked confident really on defense too much here. They look to be playing on their toes, and Colorado's kind of taking it to them right now. We both agree that there could be some changes in store. This is just one game, but this is not the start that the Tampa Bay Lightning had wanted. Not just being down 2-0, but kind of getting dominated a little bit here within the first half of this first period.
Agreed, and as is the case in hockey, it certainly bears mentioning special teams, such an important part of the game. No question it's an important part of a Stanley Cup final. The Lightning looked good on their power play, but they were unable to really build and maintain any momentum. And in fact, Colorado flipped the script and scored not long after they killed that penalty, and we're back underway here at Ball Arena.
So this is going to get across the red line now. Anthony Cirelli is going to try to pick this one up. Nice play ahead through, and this is a chance. Burakovsky with a shot stopped there by Vasilevsky, and boy, he really needed to have that one on a breakaway. Then Killorn is going to feed him his lunch as this goes back across the red line now. So Big Cat had to make a big save there. He has not done so until now, about the 9:15 mark of the first period. Mark that breakaway save down. Vasilevsky tried to play this one across, and Cirelli, Maroon, is going to try to break out now. Maroon has it now. Slap shot goes by the pad of Kemper and saved as this is pinched in behind the goal crease of Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Some 4th line timer for Cooper squad. Loose out in front, and the Colorado Avalanche will intercept with Nicholas Aubé-Kubel, the pickup from the Philadelphia Flyers, and Josh Manson, the pickup from the Anaheim Ducks. Now here's a chance for Sturm. Sturm, in between two players, gets a backhand off, and it goes just wide. and now picked up toward the right dot. Mikhail Sergachev, he's had a little bit of a resurgence there. You thought he scored 2 goals in Game 5. He got an assist on the second one instead, as they were able to dispatch the New York Rangers in 6 and win 4 straight. But Tampa is down 2-0 with 8 minutes left to go in the first. Colorado trying to get this out of their own end. This is pass across Ruda. Hedman off the kick plate. Shot goes high and wide. 7:57 left. It's 2-0 Colorado Avalanche in the first.
John, you made note of it, as you well should. Big breakaway save by Vasilevsky. That's what we're used to seeing. He looked very calm, didn't need to do a lot of movement. He didn't overplay the puck. Great positioning. All the things that we're used to seeing from him. Sticks out the right pad and makes a breakaway save look routine. Perhaps, as I speculate, perhaps that settles him in a little bit, and we see a change in his style as we go to another break here in Game 1. John, what are you liking so far from Tampa Bay? There hasn't been a ton for them to celebrate, and they're down 2-0. Are there any things that they can hang on to here, maybe that John Cooper's pointing out, for them to build on?
That's tough, Cooper, to be honest with you. I mean, I liked the power play, although they didn't score. But I think Colorado on the other side of it with Jared Bednar, they have to know that they cannot allow Tampa to be on the power play there. Maybe you see from John Cooper's side, maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. A third and fourth line getting an extra shift here if the first and second line don't get it together and have that attention to detail. So I wouldn't say much for Tampa Bay other than that outside power play they haven't scored on. Is that fair or unfair to say?
I think that is fair, and I think it's also fair to say that Braden Point, who obviously the stat sheet shows it, his skill level shows it, he can be a difference maker, especially in the playoffs. Loves to score from the slot. He has not been, certainly wouldn't say invisible, but the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to need him to get back up to full game speed and contribute the way that he can. This is somebody we mentioned before puck was dropped, and he's got to take the bull by the horns for his squad and potentially do some heavy lifting here.
And Cooper, we understand it's the playoffs and all that, and it's all systems go, but it's a really tall ask for Braden Point to be able to get that kind of normal production against the Colorado Avalanche, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And, I pointed out only because that's what, of course, in an ideal world, the Lightning would get. Of course, they'd be able to snap their fingers.
Sure.
Here comes one of their best players, and he's back to 100%. I mean, if they can get him at anywhere over 50%, which is, we'll never know until the playoffs are finished here. But he's back on the ice, healthy enough to be there. And I know that his teammates are hoping for any contribution they can get from him.
Absolutely. The towels are waving. Everybody's excited in Denver, Colorado, Ball Arena as they should be. It's a 2-0 lead for the Colorado Avalanche. The puck gets bounced off the kick, play off the faceoff lane, and Ruda's shot gets denied there by the Maroon and Cerulli. And there's a broken twig on the ice near the right dot as this goes back across the red line. Picked up now. Point gets knocked off the puck. Trying to find out in front of Nick Paul. Great move! Scores! Wow, what a goal by Nick Paul! How did he just do that? He dicked around 2 different players and beat Kemper clean. That was ridiculous.
My word, I cannot believe what I just saw. The stick and puck control right there from Nick Paul under duress from not one but 2 defensemen from Colorado. He taps it in to the far post on his forehand. That looked like a play that was going nowhere, just a bouncing puck in the crease area, and Nick Paul turns it in to a 2-1 game. He cuts that lead in half, and I'm getting on my ESPN feed here a little bit of an extra replay, and Nick Paul slows down with that skate blade, and without getting poke checked, he just taps it in. Kemper seemed a little bit confused there, and right place, right time, Nick Paul makes it 2-1.
What in the world did I just witness? Nick Paul looking like Connor McDavid on that one. 7:28 left to go in the first. You're talking about a critical goal. We were just talking about what could go right here for Tampa Bay. Again, I can steal the easy one there, Cooper. That's what's gone right for Tampa Bay. Nick Paul, and maybe on the other side, was that Manson or that was Johnson who got beat? That might be one of those ones for Jared Bednar, and they look in that locker room. Look, I'm not putting blame on anybody. It's hard to play hockey and all that stuff. You cannot get beat off the one-on-one like that. and face your goalie.
Johnson certainly with a difficult moment right there. Had a chance to clear the puck away. He actually was on his forehand as he was back checking. Could have cleared it off to the right of his goaltender. Chose not to do so and paid the price big time.
So here's a chance now for Colorado as this goes back into the cage of Andrei Vasilevsky. And sorry, the voice went up a few extra octaves there, but that was just one of those goals I think that had to be justified on that side. Darcy Kemper plays this across the red line as it falls back in behind the cage. Colorado now, all of a sudden, their lead is shrinking. And Tampa tried to center this out in front. It bounced off the blocker of Kemper to the dismay of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And now here's another turnover off the skate of Belmar. Inconsequentially, though, McKinnon lost it as he was stuck on a 1-on-4, and almost another turnover there on the Tampa side. So when Tampa looked like they were taking some momentum, they almost had a couple straight turnovers on both sides for both teams. This pinballs off the players' bench goes across the red line and now picked up here by the Colorado Avalanche. Again, who are looking to attack right to left across your radio dial. This is picked up now by Byron. This goes in behind the left side red line in the dot. Byron with the slap shot. Nice save there by Vasilevsky in the midst of a bouncing puck and a screen. Maybe he is getting settled in a little bit more, as we've said. Picked up now by Tampa. Alex Killorn looking for that cross pass for Cirelli, but it couldn't stay on the stick blade. And you have no idea how hard that is with the saucer pass, trying to find a defender off there. Sometimes the things don't work out. Killorn gets it centered out in front, all across the blue paint. And now this is picked up by Point. Chernak will get this across for Hedman. Into the screen. Cirelli trying to fight it now. And let's see who's got it now. I think I see Brandon Hagel on the ice. They said he was not supposed to be playing today, but he is on the ice, even with the day-to-day injury. So that is a good sign here for John Cooper. We get a stoppage with about 5:31 left to go in the first.
Boy, John, this is very interesting hockey here. Chances on both sides at about the 14-minute mark, which would be around 6 minutes remaining here in the first period. The Avs almost made it 3-1. Shot came from the blue line and was successfully deflected, but went about 8 to 10 inches to Vasilevsky's right. And then there was a cross-crease pass from the face-off dot into the slot area that I believe Cirelli had a look at, and it just was deflected at the last split second away from him getting a clear chance. So interesting developments here as we head to a commercial break. And I want to welcome Calvin to the broadcast here on Colorcast. You got John Ryan on, one of the premier hockey voices on Colorcast. My name is Cooper Hopkins, just chiming in with some extra thoughts from time to time. So Calvin, welcome aboard. And we had got ourselves what was looking like a dominant performance for Colorado. And just like they do so often, we think to ourselves, Tampa Bay's behind the 8 ball a little bit, and they snap their fingers, turn the tide, cut the lead in half, and the game looks a lot more 50-50 as we get closer to the end of the first period.
I appreciate the very kind words. I appreciate you, Calvin, able to tune in. Hopefully you get a chance to stick around with us. We'll see what we can find during the intermission. Most of the time we end up talking about through all that stuff as well. But, yeah, this has been a game that has been back and forth. It didn't really start that way. It was a quick 2-0 here for the Colorado Avalanche. And let me give you a quick reset of that. So at the 7:47 mark, Gabe Landeskog from Bowen Byron and Mikko Rantanen. And then the 9:23 mark, Valenchuskin from Nathan McKinnon. And then that just ridiculous goal by Nick Paul. Victor Hedman and Braden Point got the assist. Made it 2-1 at the 12:26 mark of the first. We got 5:22 left to go in this first stanza here, as we're going to get back into the cold momentarily. So Nick Paul, 2 goals, 4 assists in the last 11 games, as the GM Julian Breezewa is getting a look on the CBC Sportsnet side of things. So we got CBC Sportsnet and we got ESPN coverage on both sides. So if one of us don't see something, we can clearly relate it to the other if it is of importance, which is always good. So Chernak, now to Hedman. He gets us across the red line. This is picked up now by Byram. Nice bullet pass, but good defense there by the Lightning. Trying to take that one away as this goes to Eric Chernak. So again, between Chernak, McDonough, Hedman, Foote, Sergachev, those are all those guys, unless you want to throw out Hedman, that are more defensively oriented rather than the Colorado Avalanche that are more north and south. Not saying anything in disparity for Tampa, but that's the way that John Cooper likes to get this stuff done. So you have to be very careful if you're Tampa. Colorado likes to take some advantages, but who knows? If one team's playing chess and one team's playing checkers, Tampa Bay might get a quick breakout. That could be something of significance as we get an offside stoppage with 4:36 left to go in the first.
So, John, I want to give credit to the ESPN folks here. First period goals allowed in losses for Tampa Bay, 12. So, interesting. Colorado took advantage early, but Tampa Bay has, like I said, seemed to really even things out here over the past 5-6 minutes or so. And I'm curious to see how this first period will finish. This is something we talked about during the Lightning series at Madison Square Garden. Taking momentum in and out of periods, it was so huge for both of those squads. Obviously, the Lightning came away victorious and are now here fighting for their third consecutive cup.
Once we get back into the action, once that's done, I want to make a point out of what you just talked about. So Devin Tays and Kemper, they have this now. This is in behind the goal creases. This goes to Devin Tays. Across now, looking for a breakout here. Nathan McKinnon got to watch number 29, and that was a series of moves, and I think that this is going to be a penalty against the Lightning for tripping Nathan McKinnon at the 4:07 mark. We'll see what the official call is, if there is one. Anthony Cirelli looks like he might be going to the box. So
I think that you are right, John. Yeah, it looks like Cirelli got his stick across the shins of McKinnon, sent him to the ice, and he went sliding toward the corner. And Colorado will be on their first man advantage of the Stanley Cup final.
So to your point earlier on the ESPN side, I credit you and that side too to bring this up to me. In the sense of the 12 goals in the first period, it kind of feels like, and again, this might be a cliche way of saying it, Sergachev's going to the box. This might be one of those ones where Tampa Bay, they always have that mental notepad out. They figure this stuff out and they make the adjustments as the series goes along. Makar to McKinnon, near the left faceoff dot, and the slap shot gets deflected, stopped there by the big cat. As this goes back in behind the cage, Mikko Rantanen has it now. Plays it out for Makar. Makar is going to power play quarterback this thing. He's going to leave it across. Rantanen lets it going through the screen. McKinnon will be the first one to it near the left faceoff dot as it falls to Makar. Makar can't hold that blue line. And there is no call on the other side, or is there one? Against the Lightning on Cirelli for tripping Makar, because that could easily be called. And if this is going to be a two-man advantage here for the Colorado Avalanche's Anthony Cirelli is indeed heading to the box.
Well, very interesting development right there, John. I don't blame you for questioning what you saw on the ice. I was questioning it as well as I saw the play unfold. That looked like, frankly, an even more obvious trip than the prior penalty.
Absolutely.
As the stick of Cirelli got right in the skates of Makar as he was chasing down the puck in the neutral zone. And yes, of course, the previous play was Sergachev and Cirelli descending upon Nathan McKinnon. So now a two-man advantage for Colorado, 93 seconds on this two-man advantage for the home squad. My goodness, this is going to be a massive opportunity for the Avs to do some damage.
So, ladies and gentlemen, anyone that's listening out there, that's exactly what you don't do if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning. You put the Colorado Avalanche on a two-man advantage here as they already have a 2-1 lead. This power play can be very, very lethal, and Kel Makar is definitely at the center of it. He's in the high slot now near the left dot as this goes to Rantanen. McKinnon surveying near the right dot, leaves it back for Mikko Rantanen. He lost the puck a little bit as this finds Makar near the left dot. And again, Tampa Bay is just going to stay in that box and try to cover the middle of that slot. So Colorado can wheel and deal as much as they like. Bellemare with an excellent shot block, but it doesn't leave the zone. McKinnon in the high slot will drop it back to Makar as they play catch. McKinnon through the screen. Vasilevsky with a big save there, but it falls in between the high slot. Again, Mikko Rantanen near the left dot now. Circling. Nathan McKinnon. Makar with a wrist shot. And it gets blocked by Woltz. Picked up now by McKinnon. Once more to Makar. He centers it back out toward the left dot. McKinnon with a slapper. Vasilevsky down. And this pinball is back to McKinnon before it crosses the blue line. Gets in deep near the right dot. McKinnon gets worked over with a big-time hit. McKinnon with a slapper blocked by Tampa, so they're doing a good job here, but they still got time to kill it. Now they score! Colorado looking surgical. You can't block the shots forever, and you also can't put the Avalanche on a two-man advantage. 3-1 Avs with 2:29 left.
My goodness, what a clinical finish right there, to steal a phrase from these folks calling international soccer games these days. The shake of the head from Sorelli in the box. He will stay there, and this is a huge moment as Ballerina waves those white towels, the white pom-poms in the air, rightfully so. Colorado doing exactly what you would expect a team of their caliber to do. They had multiple chances. Vasilevsky doing everything he could. I believe not one but two blocked shots by the players in front of him. But guess what? When it's 5-on-3 and you guys got guys like McKinnon and Rantanen on the ice, they're going to score. And that's exactly what they did. 3-0 Colorado.
Yeah, you're more than asking for trouble. The Colorado Avalanche have been the best team of all 16 on the power play. And when you have those superstars on both ends of that, and again, Arturi Lehkonen with another goal. Remember, he had back-to-back series winners within the last couple of years. So he's been an excellent pickup here for the Colorado Avalanche this year. He's got his 7th of the playoffs, and Colorado's second power play still has 30 seconds left to go on it. Rantanen to Byram. Rantanen has it now near the left side red line. Going to get picked up now by Bowen Byram. He's going to play catch here with Johnson. Picked up now by Rantanen in behind the office of Vasilevsky, and he still has it now. They're still working behind the net of the Avalanche in the high slot. Bowen Byram has near the left dot. Slap shot here for Devin Taves into the screen. This was blocked by the Lightning and cleared out, where they're going to need to make some desperate changes here because they have to be tired. And we'll see if the fourth line will get some time with 1:30 left. But here comes Colorado again with the cross pass here for Helm as that one just went wide. Vasilevsky might have had to make another big save there. And now there's a massive humanity near the right side red line. It's Sorelli holding over his man. Again, the Zebras can blow this play dead if the puck does not move, but it is stuck out there now where Tampa Bay has it. But again, Tampa Bay is down 2 goals. They're being outshot 15-6. Great move by Andre Palat off the backhand forehand. You can mark that one down there for Darcy Kemper. Centered out in front of the left slot. The shot goes wide of Kemper. Picked up now by McDonough. Stamkos, that was clever through the blue paint there. Not sure how Kemper saw it, but Colorado was able to clear. We're down to 50 seconds left to go in this first. And now we get a stoppage here.
I want to give credit where it's due. John, earlier in this period, we talked about the skill of Makar, who kept the play alive, and which nearly resulted in the first goal, which was a shot off the right post for the Avs. He played the puck off of the dasher to himself to keep the play alive as he crossed into the offensive zone. Andre Palat just did the very same thing for Tampa Bay and nearly created a high danger chance for his squad. So I'm getting a great look at the Lehkonen deflection here on the ESPN side. He stretched out completely to get the blade of that stick on the puck. Lehkonen could be a huge factor, not only in this game, but moving forward. That's what he's proven to do. And I know we're back underway here with just about a half minute to go in the first period.
So this pinball is between 4 Avalanche players. Tampa Bay can't do anything with this one. And again, if you have the embarrassment of riches like Colorado does for the offensive players, and good on Joe Sakic to add to that foundation, Arturi Lehkonen could definitely be one of those first line guys, and he's on the second because Colorado is so good. We get an icing with 10.6 left to go in the first stanza.
Boy, what can you say about Joe Sakic, a name that's come up already several times in this opening period of the Stanley Cup Final? I mean, we're looking at now 30-plus years of impact that he's made on this franchise, both on the ice and off. I mean, his squad, you can split hairs about their goaltending tandem, but obviously with the scoreline right now, this 3-1, anywhere you look on the ice, he's put together a championship-level team, and if Colorado can continue this kind of play, that's what they're going to be looking at before this month is out.
Absolutely, Cooper. I mean, with the salary cap and everything else and all these superstars that you have, people that are going to have to be paid, you can't have everything, and Colorado pretty much has everything else. As we get down to the last 10 seconds, it gets warped around the kick plate here. That's going to end the first period. Everybody rising to their feet after one. Colorado up 3-1 against a team looking to go back to back in the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is the house at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, and they're rocking right now after one period of play.
3-1 Avs to start. I think that when you're playing a team that is as quality as the Lightning are, that's basically a dream start for Colorado. They look confident. They look able. They look ready. Tampa Bay showed some flashes. Obviously, they put one in the net. But the Avs, you have to say, were the more dominant team of that opening stanza. And like I was pointing out earlier, of course, I'm just personally very curious to see if they're able to carry that momentum into the opening of period number 2.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like we said, you cannot understate how important that first goal was for the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they're down 3-0, I think we have even a whole different conversation. Even though Tampa Bay deserves the ultimate respect, you're down 3-0 against the Colorado Avalanche after one period. This is a completely different story. So Nick Paul with his superhuman effort. But again, there is a lot of blame to go around on the the Tampa Bay Lightning, in the sense of you gave up a 5-on-3. You know one of those ones is going to go in the back of your net. So there's some things to clean up for John Cooper's squad when we get into the second period.
Yes, indeed. And John Cooper was absolutely furious with that back-to-back tripping penalty sequence. I think he disagreed vehemently with the call against Cirelli, but as we saw that on the replay, I think, John, both you and I would agree that that was a pretty clear-cut rule violation, and that sent the second man in the box for his bolts. And as we said during the call, Colorado did exactly what you have to do when you're up 2 men. Put the puck in the back of the net. They peppered Vasilevsky. They're keeping him uncertain. When he gets into a rhythm, when he's playing calmly, we know how good he can be. And Colorado is keeping him on his toes in the worst way, because Colorado is on their toes and keeping the offensive pressure on. What a performance by the Avs in first.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're exactly right. And I look at Colorado and I want to say this, whether it's fair or unfair. Again, we've talked about it in some of the previous series with the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers. Look, I was one of those ones that was never on the Edmonton Oilers train, even all the way through the first round. I took the LA Kings in 7. And again, when they played against the Colorado Avalanche, you can see what ends up happening when you're playing against a team that doesn't have a lot of depth. No disrespect to Draisaitl and McDavid. They're fabulous, fabulous players. Look at what Draisaitl did on one leg. But it's a lot different when you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. If Colorado can continue to do this, and again, we use that same narrative in Game 1 with the Rangers and Lightning. If they can continue to do stuff like this, Tampa Bay is definitely going to be on edge. But again, as you would expect, just like you, I said I think this is going to go 6, but I think this is a Game 1 that is wholly more important for the Colorado Avalanche to hold serve at Ball Arena more than it is for Tampa, if that's fair to say.
Listen, I think it's fair to say. And another thing that's fair to mention, here's a name that we did not say, unless I missed it from you, which my ears are open wide. I'm catching everything that you're dishing out there, John. I do not think that we mentioned with any specificity, potentially at all, Steven Stamkos during the first period.
We did not. I did not mention his name not a single time.
So, with that confirmed, now listen, just because you're wearing the C doesn't mean you have to do everything for your team. But when your team needs it, when things need to change, when you're behind it, when you're playing behind, literally, mathematically, when you're down 3-1, when you're behind the play, when you are behind the 8 ball, pick a term, that's when you'd hope to see a little more notable play from your big boys. So Stamkos, it's not all on you, my friend, but John and I are looking at you, and I want to see what comes from Stammer in the second period.
I think that's a good call by you, Cooper. I can't even imagine, and I did not even mention his name, but I know I did not. And it's one of those situations where Stamkos is healthy. He's had that resurgence. And look, I know from the back-to-back, all of these games are hard, right? This is going to be this 12 straight series here. We're trying to win back-to-back cups. And I look at the Colorado Avalanche goaltending tandem aside. I'm going to give them credit because Darcy Kemper played pretty well in that first period. I never sit there and called any of them sieves, but it wasn't fair to compare, those two to Vasilevsky. But if they get that same kind of level of goaltending play, and Tampa does not get some of their effort, like you said, from some of their big stars, I mean, Colorado can make even Tampa look silly. Again, I shudder to think when I say that, but their forwards and defense especially, their defensive core has to be better than any other thing in the NHL, is it not?
No, I don't think there's a question about it. I mean, listen, we're talking about players like, listen, on both sides of that red line, you have your Hedmans, you have your McCarrs, players of different ages, players of different quality, but we're talking Norris-level defenders, and that's just the leaders of the Blue Liners on their teams. Everyone playing with and behind them, also high-level skill, able to shut down plays, sometimes by themselves. We talked about Johnson in the first period. A little moment of uncertainty right there that led to Nick Paul's chance that he put into the back of the net. But other than plays like that, which are almost fluky, you're seeing high-level defending. And for the Avalanche to have 3 in the first, that says a lot about the skill of those skaters, those forwards and centers, doing their jobs to the highest level. 3-1 Lightning. I was not expecting this after 1.
So again, it seems like, Cooper, every single time that we go ahead and do a game 1 in these series, we're getting nothing but shootouts. I don't know what's in the water on that side of it, but I was not expecting this either. When we did a little bit of the breakdown of the Stanley Cup stuff going yesterday, we did a little preview show. I said, yeah, maybe game 1 might be some kind of auspicious game here and there that we can throw out. Absolutely, no doubt about that. But I'm thinking more along the lines of a 3-2 or a 4-3 at most. Not already 3-1 after 1, but again, I will be the record of repeating when it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning, in the sense of, again, I got nobody to root for in this case, but we've seen Tampa make adjustments so many times, and it happens from game to game, not period to period. So this should be a long series. This should go 6. Cooper, if you will, or maybe if you want to, designate this in the second period, or however you want to do this from the intermission, what was your official pick, or what was on your mind as far as who's going to win this?
Well, I want to welcome Jen Bash to the broadcast, big-time hockey fan. Jen, you got John Ryan on, one of the premier voices when it comes to hockey on Colorcast. And make no mistake, he doesn't just do hockey. But when he does hockey, folks, you're getting barn burners. John, I've said this before. You and I know we both enjoy both doing the play-by-play side and the color commentary side. You've joined me as a color man a number of times. And it seems like, with a couple of exceptions, but by and large, we're getting 1-0, 2-1. We're getting shutouts when I'm on the play-by-play. It's like I could go to sleep doing these things. You're called into action every 3 or 4 minutes. We got goals like crazy, 4 already in this game. I mean, it's always exciting with you, my friend. And so I buried the lead. The answer to your question, I was going Colorado in 6. I know I'm not alone in that. And I know a lot of folks, whether it's SiriusXM folks, Bleacher Report, I've heard it on ESPN. A lot of folks are pushing Tampa to the side. I don't think completely. I don't think they're discounting the ability. Even you and I have spoken this way about the Bolts. A lot of pundits just scooting them off to the side a little bit. In fact, Colorado, of course, as we're looking at the betting lines, they're the favorite tonight. A lot of that goes to home ice advantage.
Sure.
But when you have the play of McKinnon, when you have Lehkonen doing what he's doing, and when you have open discussions about whether or not, and listen, it might be a little hyperbolic, but open discussions on major platforms about whether or not Cale Makar is literally the best player in the NHL. We're not talking best defender. I've listened on multiple platforms, discussions about, is he better? Would you start your new NHL franchise with Nathan McKinnon, with Connor McDavid or Cale Makar? Just having that kind of conversation tells you how he's raised his play in these Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, this has been an incredible run for both of these squads, but I'm still sticking with the Colorado Avalanche in 6. But we know, I'll end my rant on this, John, and I'll let you respond. The New York Rangers had their 2-0 series advantage, and the Tampa Bay Lightning said to their blue-shirted friends, sorry, we're going to sweep you the rest of the way. Now, that is always in the deck of cards for Tampa Bay. This squad, they could be down 3-0 and, of course, have more than a mathematical chance. They could go on a 4-game winning streak and surprise everyone. Not saying Colorado's going to go up 3-0, but just like we said with New York, if the Avs can keep up this style of play, period in, period out, not easy to do, but they can get 75 to 80% of that level of play that we just saw, just like we said about New York, then we're going to see a lot of early success and sustained success for Jared Bender's squad.
I'd like to welcome Jen to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us and all that stuff. I want to rebuttal this here for you for Cooper. I just saw on the Sportsnet side, I want to just make mention of this and I'll get into that point. Vasilevsky was beaten on the blocker side for 18 goals and 12 goals for the high glove side. They noticed a trend there on Vasilevsky. That was the same thing that the Toronto Maple Leafs were doing against the Big Cat in this series, and Colorado has stuck 3 times in those 2 areas to score, leading 3-1 after. So it's funny when you talk about Cale Makar, as we've mentioned, for the previous show, I wasn't even listening to that stuff, and I made that comparison in there. Would you start Cale Makar with your franchise? And I was saying only maybe 3 or 4 teams wouldn't trade for him. So that's pretty interesting. He's already at that level considering when he's 22 years of age, but he really is that good. Look, we didn't get a chance, at least I didn't get a chance to watch Bobby Orr. But when you think about Cale Makar, the way that he can skate like the wind and play defense and all of that, he's an exceptional, exceptional player. And so to answer your question in the sense of who's going to win, and we're thinking about all this stuff, you had Colorado in 6. And I know it's unfair for me to sit here and say, wait for one game and I'm flipping a coin back and forth, but I'm telling you, man, I'm really struggling with the prediction. Again, when the show, I said, if Tampa wins, they win in 6. If Colorado wins, they win in 7. I'm going to say this, even after game 1, with the result as it is, if Colorado wins, I'm still going to go on the other side of you and say Tampa in 6. Only because I still believe in their ability to make adjustments. And as you've said, and I've said this many times, I'm not going to say Colorado is going to take a 3-0 series advantage, but if they did, I would still go with Tampa Bay until they are dead and buried. I know that sounds like blasphemy, but considering when you're going from back to back to back, and they've seen all the adjustments, and as you said, even in this series between the Maple Leafs, make no mistake about it, we keep talking about this first-round team, or at least I do. I sound like an apologist here, but they were up. They had a chance to go to the Stanley Cup final if they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. We could definitely be seeing the Maple Leafs and the Avalanche play each other right now. I really believe that. But it is Tampa Bay. They got the 2 elimination games, and as you said, they lost both games in MSG. They were down 2-0 on home ice in Amalie in game 3 and still came back and won 4 straight games. So Colorado, yes, it's a stiff test on offense and defense, but Tampa has my respect until they lose 4 straight. I'm going to go Tampa in 6.
Okay. I love that we're accessing a lot of the same reasoning, and it's almost a coin flip at this point, which, look, you're playing a team that is looking for their 3rd. They're basically trying to, as Cale Makar said publicly, and has been noted by the media, they're a team trying to build a dynasty, and I think he said something to the effect of, we're trying to establish ourselves as sort of the new guard. And for him to be wise as well as skilled, all the credit to him in the world. And I just want to mention for Jen, who's here with us, of course, we're still working our way through the first intermission. Second period coming up here in Denver, Colorado at Ball Arena. Game 1 of the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals, the National Hockey League. 3-1 Colorado over the Tampa Bay Lightning at the moment. And John, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know because you referenced it earlier, maybe we can just walk through how we got to our 3-1 scoreline. So when we start period number 2, Jen and everybody listening is up to speed.
Absolutely. Let's do that now. So I'm going to go through this here. Look at this box score. So we got started early at the 7:47 mark. It was Gabe Landeskog from Bowen Byron, Mikko Rantanen. There was some good movement across that blue line, and it was a shot that probably should have been stopped there by Vasilevsky. He couldn't find it across the blue paint. Landeskog probably pushed a puck that was going in anyway, but it was 1-0 in favor of the Avalanche. But as we've talked about, sometimes they might, try to park the bus. Again, they're not going to do that in the first period, but we've seen them do that in the third for some kind of leads. But no, 9:23, Val Nichushkin gets his 6th of the playoffs from Nathan MacKinnon. Nichushkin with a nice little wrist shot near the right dot, but that was one that you and I said that Vasilevsky should have had. So Tampa Bay and John Cooper and the assistant coach, immediately a few minutes after that, they're talking on the bench, trying to figure out some things. They're not happy, maybe considering taking a timeout if it goes 3-0? No, Nick Paul gets the next goal on a superhuman effort, beats Johnson, taps the puck to himself, puts it in, just an unbelievable goal. And then as soon as Tampa looks like they're going to have some momentum, what do? They negate all of it, and they take 2 penalties. It puts the Avalanche on a 5-on-3 power play. Arturi Lehkonen gets his 7th of the playoffs, assisted by Landeskog and Rantanen at the 17:31 mark, and that's where we are after one, a 3-1 lead for the Avs in Denver, Colorado, Ball Arena.
Yes, indeed, John. Thank you for catching us all up. And I do want to point out that this is something we talked about during the period and during this break. I'm keeping an eye on Vasilevsky. I mean, we all are. He's a huge name in this series in Greece or Tampa Bay, tending the goal. And I've got to see him settle in early. And that may mean that he needs to be tested once or twice to get back into the swing of things as we get into the middle stanza. I think if Tampa Bay, almost ironically, sort of counterintuitively, if Tampa Bay grabs some momentum early on and maintains offensive zone pressure, I don't know. That might mean that Vasilevsky is not fully into the period. A goalie of his caliber, you would expect that he can, anytime he's called into action under any circumstances, he's going to answer more often than not. But when the game is on a razor like this, you'd like to see both goalies respond early, and generally that means they have to be tested.
Yeah, and I don't think that Tampa is really concerned about how many times Vasilevsky has been tested. Look, again, he's been beaten several times within this game. Won some of the stuff late, but when he's had to respond, he's responded big, especially in elimination games. Obviously, we have a long way to go before we even get to that point. And even we have a long way to go before we get to game 2, my friend. It's not even until Saturday. So some extra days off here in between game 2, which might be able to change some of these injury situations. You never know about that. But I will say this to you. When you're looking at the grand scheme of things and you open up that hockey record book, for all the talk about the offense and defense for Tampa Bay, and rightfully so, I think they have to put a stake in the ground and give Andrei Vasilevsky his own chapter here in this history books, because they have depended on him an awful lot. You're talking about 3 straight playoff runs where he's played every single game, and that is crazy.
Yeah, the workload is beyond what, and truly, we're talking just minutes played. The workload is beyond what any other goaltender has experienced in the recent years here in the National Hockey League. We're getting closer to the second period puck drop and getting things back underway. John, I just want to get your thoughts. I mean, this doesn't have to be anything official or formal. I'm just curious what you think as a broadcaster and fan. We're not used to seeing the break from game to game that you just described. Here we are on Wednesday evening. We won't be seeing game 2 until Saturday. I know puck drop is moments away here, but maybe you can give us your thoughts on just what that might mean for both teams. Players like Nazem Kadri for the Avs, maybe Brayden Point getting a chance to shore things up even further. Love to hear your thoughts when we get a break here as we start period number 2.
We'll definitely do that and come back to that point. So Chernak has it now. Point is going to start here in the second period here for John Cooper's squad. So we'll see as we get more games along. Again, this might benefit somebody like Brayden Point, be able to get his legs underneath him and get healthy. And I think that's what matters the most. That's why we're seeing this long break. Vasilevsky now to Nick Paul. Gets bounced up and gloved down here by Anthony Cirelli as he tries to play this one across. It's kept onside by Ross Colton. And this goes past the goal stick of Darcy Kemper. Spun around now. Colton has it. They're usually on that third line there. Victor Hedman picks this back across the blue. Going to give this across to Chernak. Colton in the left dot back. Chernak lets it go into the screen. Blocked there by the Avalanche. One more time. Bruda off the goal post on the left side of the outside post. Wow. That was a C&I single shot. He almost made it a 3-2 game. Picked up across the red line now. Palat trying to work in behind the cage, using the backhand. He's still being surrounded here by the Avalanche, but the Lightning have been able to start this first couple minutes with some possession. Another shot that was blocked out in front from the blue line side. So you notice early in this second period, a lot of shots from the blue line to try to test Kemper from long distance. Stamkos Near the left dot, tries to shoot short side, jumps over his man to put a pass to Palat. That would have been crazy if that would have connected. But here come the Avalanche off of 1-on-2. Rantanen trying to hold off the backhand. He's going to leave this near the left dot into the screen. Stopped by Vasilevsky. Burakovsky gets this one across from Rantanen. Now near the blue line. This is Bowen Byram. And Vasilevsky finds him in the catching glove. We were just talking about trying to mention Steven Stamkos' name. How about getting a shot near the left dot and then jumping over your man for a centering slot pass?
Yeah, John. Listen, we're a couple minutes into period number 2 here. The Avalanche are now seeing exactly what the Bolts bring to the table, the ability to turn the tide really at any moment. You mentioned the most important thing here is probably the number one directive from their head man, John Cooper. Get the puck on net. That's what they did. Nearly put it in. There's one that rings up off the post. And then number 91 starts hurdling people out here. Steven Stamkos is back in a big way. He took a hit from Manson, but man, he made a big difference, and they almost made it 3-2.
And Cooper, we were mentioning, we were just talking about his name. You make a play like that, that was highlight reel, and that's why it's so much fun to do these games with you, just be able to get the other reactions on top of your expert analysis, as always, which is much appreciated. So we get another part of the faceoff draw here, so it's going to be Lehkonen and Cirelli. So Cirelli can't win it clean, and this goes back to the Colorado defense. As this is pushed right in behind the office, this is with Darren Helm. Darren Helm on the left side red line trying to keep it alive. He falls to his knees, somehow still plays this one as they're trying to out-battle Mikhail Sergachev here on the Lightning. But Anthony Cirelli, nice defensive game, trying to go back and pinch this one. But Manson's still trying to keep this alive. So Tampa struggling a little bit, trying to get this out of their own end after they've had some pressure. And Colorado with about 3 straight body checks in an interim period of about 30 seconds. Nice move in front by Colorado to set this up as this goes back for Logan O'Connor, picked up now by Helm, now near the left side red line. Picked up by O'Connor again. It was sticked away by Alex Killorn. Now intercepted by the Avalanche. Sergachev couldn't find the puck. It's picked up now by O'Connor off the backhand. This goes near the blue. Devin Taves from Makar. Taves kind of fanned on that one as it fell to Makar and then was cleared out. And another big hit on the other side by Makar. So not only can he play offense and defense like that, he can also lay the body. And it's an icing against Avalanche.
Oh, John, listen. Now we haven't had a goal scored yet here in the first several minutes of this second period, but we're both shouting at the top of our lungs because you have Steven Stamkos for the Bolts hurdling down players, and then you have Cale Makar showing you every bit of his skill set, and you were exactly right. Just huge hits. Johnson lays a man out. That was Hagel who got blasted right there, and then Makar with the physicality. These two teams can truly do it all. What a series, and we're not even halfway through this first game.
Yeah, this is fun. You know, sometimes you get the Stanley Cup Finals matchup where, we'll just be honest here, if you got Dominik Hasek on the Buffalo Sabres, you know, sometimes one guy can carry you all the way to the Cup Final, but you're seeing two teams right now that can do everything, and this is an incredible hockey game that we've seen right now, even though Colorado's a 3-1 edge. Now you got some pushing and shoving in front with Maroon and Belmar. Maroon's got a couple of fists that he's feeding, I believe, to Makar. And now we got something going on the left. Vasilevsky has left the goal crease, and now the Zebras are trying to get this one squared away.
Well, surprise, surprise, hockey fans. Pat Maroon and Corey Perry are in the mix. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Final. It's official. We have now seen, well, John, I shouldn't speak too soon. We've seen plenty of things that we thought we'd never see during this playoff run on multiple occasions, multiple teams, multiple series. But one thing you can always count on, Pat Maroon and Corey Perry getting in the mix when things get heated.
Absolutely. That's what they're known for. And Corey Perry, isn't he the one that's trying to be on the correct side of a Stanley Cup team for once? He's made the finals 3 straight years, and he's been on the opposite side. So it's a 4-on-4. Now, after all, a little bit of those fisticuffs in behind the goal cage of Vasilevsky. So who does a 4-on-4 favor at this point, Cooper?
Well, 4-on-4 is going to change the defensive style of Tampa Bay's game right now, and you're also going to see one of their A solid forward defenders and enforcers is Maroon now in the box. Looked like Perry could have potentially gone as well. He really made a lot of contact with Kemper, but they got Maroon for coming in late, and then Johnson for the Avalanche for the retaliation, basically defending his goaltender. So 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, 3-1 Colorado. Perry screaming from the bench. Let's see what we have here as we get the 4-on-4 underway.
So Nathan McKinnon's going to play this back to his defense, and Colorado is going to try to organize this thing like a power play and try to get set. I like that. Nathan McKinnon turning on the Jets, trying to make a move there. Landeskog trying to play to the open Kel McCarr, but it bounced too hard off the kick plate, so they're going to have to reset here. So you got McKinnon and Landeskog as your forwards here with Kel McCarr on the other back end of it. So that can be just as dangerous as you would like. If you're thinking about those 3-on-3 regular season overtimes, it would be remiss if I didn't say it would be Landeskog, McKinnon, and McCarr. So it's kind of those right ideas there for Bednar's. We got another humongous hit near the players' bench as Colorado just not stopped playing the body. This goes back around Vasilevsky and now finds McDonough. And now Tampa Bay can try to get settled here. We got 50 seconds left to go on the 4-on-4. Braden Point cross pass to Kucherov, and it goes wide across the blue paint and up and out. So Tampa's going to have to reset now. Kucherov tried to feed this one to Hedman. He was somehow able to get through 2 defensemen, and then he got punished on the other side. But again, he's 6'5". I think he can take it. Hedman trying to go bounce in. Kucherov finds it to Point. Centered out now. Stamkos with a shot. It goes into the stick of Kemper, and it is held. And now we got some slashing and some pushing and shoving. But Chuskin and Cirelli meet up a little bit with 29 seconds left to go in the 4-on-4.
John, I'm trying to eliminate my personal bias here. That being, as a fan of a Western Conference team, the Pacific Division winning Calgary Flames, I'm trying not to focus too much on what the Avs are doing. But guess what, my friend? I think you would agree. They are making their presence felt on screen. I can't imagine what it's like being on the ice with these guys. You got Cirelli getting blasted by Manson right in front of his teammates. He goes right into glass. And then you had a second hit, and I think that was Hedman, one of the strongest players, literally, both in skill and physicality. Guess who? It's Manson again.
Yes.
And he drills one of the best defenders in the league into the glass. What a statement here from the home team.
Yeah, if you're looking for any sort of intimidation factor, again, Tampa Bay wouldn't buy it, but certainly they're going to notice it. And that's one of those situations now. I think Colorado's doing a great job with this lead right now, doing a little bit of everything, and that's what you need. But we got to make sure, if you're Colorado, if you're a fan on that side, you make sure you keep those chances to the outside because, again, Stamkos and Kucherov can make your life absolutely miserable. Pat Maroon lost it, and this goes back to Bowen Byram, who plays with Kel McCarr. So on the first and second line, and then another hit on the other side, again for Tampa. I wasn't sure who that was for Colorado that got sandwiched, but this physical attack that we've seen in this second period has brought a delight and a smile to my face. Chernak plays this one across into the high slot, and now this goes to Stamkos and the Belmar. Chernak, McDonough. So Chernak and McDonough are right now on the defensive side of things. Picked up now by Corey Perry as the fourth line is out there. Shot in through the screen. There was a chance there for Hagel, and now we have a call with 13:32 left to go in this second period.
Yes, we do have a call here, and Tampa Bay had an opportunity there right near the blue paint during the delayed penalty. Play was whistled dead. 17 shots right now, 11 for Tampa Bay. As John said, 13:32 to go here. Period number 2 in Denver, 3-1 Colorado. And my goodness, the hitting has really ramped up in this period. And I apologize, John. This would usually fall to me, but I'm on the ESPN side. I was actually unable to see who the penalties against. Do you have any info on that for us?
On the Sportsnet side, it sounded like too many men on the ice. But I haven't seen that updated. I want to see who's it's going to be against. I think it might be against the Colorado Avalanche. That's what I heard on Sportsnet before they went to the break. We'll get some confirmation here shortly.
Yes, indeed. Yes, we are in a commercial, and I did get a quick shot right before we went to the commercial break. I did see the official holding up 6 fingers, which would indicate 6 on the ice. Guess what? That's not going to work. 6 plus the goalie, that's too many. You're heading to the penalty box. We'll see who's going to serve that penalty, and it is going to be against Colorado. So Tampa Bay, who actually looked really good in their first period man advantage. Let's see if they can put something together here and try to cut this lead down and make it 3-2 with an extra player on the ice here once we come back to action.
That physicality that you talked about there with Josh Manson with the back-to-back hits, and then when I seen him react after he hit Victor Hedman, and Victor Hedman holding up in the nose area, acting like it was almost broken, had some blood near the face. How strong do you have to be to be able to knock Victor Hedman off the puck and cause some damage to him? So I love the physicality that I'm seeing from the Colorado Avalanche. And again, as you said, I think you said it brilliantly. If you're looking from any other point of any other Western Conference team, and you're watching them now, like I'm watching them in the Stanley Cup Finals here with you, this team is the real deal, goaltending or not. Again, I don't think we're cascading that too much aside. I think Darcy Kemper and Pavel Francouz can definitely be serviceable, especially when you got the offense and defense that Colorado is able to tout out there.
Yes, indeed, and I know he was with us earlier. We had No Cap with us, he's tuned in to several of our broadcasts. Jen Bash still hanging on here in the second period. Got a lot of action, and yeah, you're right, John. It's interesting to see it from our various perspectives. Once upon a time, the Red Wings were a Western Conference team.
Yes.
Back in the East now. We can get back to that in just a moment about how dominant both the Bulls and the Avs have been in their respective conferences. As Tampa Bay is on the power play here with about 13 minutes to play in the second.
So Helm was going to peel back. It could have been an opportunity for a break. He's going to peel back and take a change. In Tampa Bay, they were a little discombobulated in their first possession. They're going to look to break out now with Andre Palat. You got to look out for this guy. He's got 8 goals and 8 assists in the playoffs right now. When you're talking about Stamkos and Kucherov, and for good reason, Andre Palat has definitely been one of those guys that's on the doorstep, can do a little bit of everything on that first line. Again, John Cooper, as Braden Point gets a little more settled. Cirelli with a nice move to get in there. Probably get some more time and then get shuffled around. Picked up now, Cirelli, Kucherov, Palat trying to find it there near the left dot. Colorado has it. They bank this one off the kick plate rather easily. And the second power play of Tampa, although they didn't score on the first one, is looking a little bit suspect here as Colorado's kind of settled in with this lead, and that is good to see. They're also not playing on their toes. They're playing with action here. So Nick Paul, it bounces back to Sergachev near the high side blue line. Hedman gets this here, goes back to Sergachev. Sergachev near the high slot, looking for a slap there for Kucherov. Set up now for Sergachev, now to Killorn. Sergachev going to let it go. He didn't get any of it, though. And Makar had a very easy clear as this goes back down to the big cat. 10 seconds left to go on the power play. And now I can officially use the term window dressing because nothing is happening right now for Tampa on the second one. Colton trying to leave a cross pass here for Sergachev off the drop. Slap shot goes high and wide on the left side kick plate in the left dot, and this goes all the way back. That's going to work as a clear. And it finds Vasilevsky. He plays this one nicely across the red line. Trying to hold off sides was Corey Perry, but he didn't get back on side. He could have had a break there. A little bit of a loss of focus of where he was. 11:22 left to go in the second.
Yeah, very interesting developments here, John. This is really not what I was expecting to see on the man advantage for Tampa Bay. And I saw on the ESPN side a nicely zoomed-in close-up shot of John Cooper looking none too pleased with his team's performance on the power play. So they're now 0 for 2 on the evening with the extra player on. Still 3-1, just over 11 minutes to play here. And really only one shot even kind of close to being a dangerous chance on that power play. And John, I think you'll agree with me. Tampa Bay just kind of couldn't settle in on that one. Colorado really had an easy time of clearing things back down to the other end.
That's going to be a development that we're going to watch as this series goes and unfolds. Because if Tampa, shot on by Cirelli, gets stopped there by Kemper, but if Tampa starts to struggle on this special teams, there's something I want to throw out here for Tampa in the sense of, okay, we know what they can do on offense and defense, but the numbers say what they do at this point. You're in the Stanley Cup final. Colorado averages close to 4 goals per when Tampa is a little bit less than 3. So if you cannot score on the power play, you're going to do yourself a large disservice against the Avalanche.
Yeah, just kind of a broad stat here again. Credit to ESPN for this one, which is popping up on my feed. Stanley Cup final stat for your home teams have won 63 straight games
back into the action right now. 10:45 left to go in the second. Colorado trying to get a chip and chase as this goes back to McDonough and now Nick Paul. Nick Paul is a lone goal scorer here for the Lightning. A glorious one at that. Gets it across the red line here for Braden Point. It's turned over here. Nathan McKinnon, wrong guy to give it to. Chips and chases to himself. Still able to keep this across the blue line. Johnson, cross pass to McKinnon, but he couldn't hold that on the stick blade. And now Steven Stamkos trying to go east to west. Toe drag in between three defenders, and it's turned over. So Tampa's second period, I don't think has bared any fruit. And like you said, Cooper, not a lot of chances against Kemper. Intercepted there by Nichushkin off the backhand, and that goes wide and on a plate. 10:02 left to go in the second. Colorado up 3-1.
Yeah, well, listen, John, we mentioned Steven Stamkos' name early in this second period. Since we have not mentioned it too many times, well, let's mention Nathan McKinnon right now because we get so used to the elite level that he plays at. You mentioned it during the play-by-play. Chips and chases to himself, draws multiple Bolts defenders, creates space in the offensive zone. The teammates behind him following the play are able to keep the puck in. He circles around while they continue possession down close to the corner, sets himself up in the slot to the right of Vasilevsky, and almost had a great one-time opportunity. Could be 4-1, but a late stick broke that pass up.
The ridiculous level of skill in between these two teams. I think that's why we're just so happy to see these two in the Stanley Cup final. With our own biases aside, look, we'd love to see our teams, but I think these are certainly the two teams that if you're a casual fan of hockey or anything else, you should just be in awe of the skill that you see. The physicality, the offense and defense, everything has been on display right now. But Colorado's got the edge, 3-1, with 9:20 left to go in the second. Nichushkin, long shot, he gets his own rebound. Big save, Vasilevsky off the second effort.
There we go again, just as you say it. Colorado showing perfect defensive zone discipline, and then a shot from distance, middle distance, and moving their feet. Nichushkin, wearing 13 on his back. You call that an unlucky number if you want, but he made some luck for himself right there as he gets the shot off, blows by the defender, and has a second opportunity. He's just looking sharp right now. Lehkonen was following the play. He might have been able to get a stick on it. Colorado is right around it, and it's seeming like things are going to be going the Avs' way. Tampa Bay is going to be hard-pressed to change momentum here because Colorado's knocking on a 4-1 score.
Absolutely, and this is probably the closest we've got to settling down as far as a broadcast between you and I, Cooper, as far as the goal totals. This has been more like the chess match that we expected in the second period. Again, I do expect a pushback as the series goes along here for Tampa Bay. Nobody's going to say, I wouldn't think that it would be shorter than a 6-game series, let alone 5. There's not going to be a sweep here. But Colorado's certainly carrying that evidence of play here in Game 1. That is good to see on their side because, again, there could be all kinds of intents and purposes with butterflies in the stomach, whether or not it's cliche, but it's the first big run here for these guys. They've been the favorites in Vegas over the last couple of years. As you pointed out with the Kel McCarr quotes, they want to be that new dynasty. And what better way to be the new dynasty when you take out the current dynasty that's trying to be in the Tampa Bay Lightning? I know a lot of people say it only happens if you win 3 straight. I would say Tampa Bay's already in that category. You want to be in their level, you got to beat the best, and Colorado's doing really well right now as we're midway through the second.
Yes, indeed. Colorado has had to go through some tough squads. You know, still, as I would describe it, still an up-and-coming Oilers squad that was scoring at will in many instances. And this is what the Avalanche do. They show that they can play against anyone. Now they're up against the best. This is what everyone always says. They are showing they're up to the task. Joe Saki's got to be smiling from the booth upstairs. And I'm smiling, just enjoying the way that they're playing hockey. They've been playing fantastically. And as we said before, that early game, that Game 1 performance by the Rangers, that's going to be tough to top. But we're seeing it all. We're seeing the hits, we're seeing the skill, passing, zone time, and we're back underway here with about 9 minutes to play here in the second period. Colorado leading by 2.
On the Sportsnet feed, I just want to make a quick reminder here. You saw Samuel Girard and Nazem Kadri in really nice looking suits. The fact that those two guys are out on offense and defense, and Colorado's still able to have the team that they are, that speaks to your massive credit in Joe Sakic, not only as a player, but as a GM and all of that. Just tremendous success here for the Avalanche. I can imagine they cannot be happier. At least until they hoist that cup. You need 4 more wins to do that, though. As we're back within the action, long pass from Kel McCarr. Beautifully there. Manson lets it go. Vasilevsky not troubled with a long shot. That was Johnson.
Yeah, and John, listen, we both watch a lot of hockey. You were very kind earlier to describe my analysis as experts. I will disagree with that. Look, I have my thoughts, happy to share them. I certainly give the expert crown to you, my friend, but this is something we can both agree on. When you see teams struggling to maintain possession through the neutral zone and even begin an offensive sequence in their O zone, and that starts to become a problem shift after shift after shift, you know something's off, you know the other team has the advantage. That's what I'm seeing right now between these two squads. They just can't find an efficient way through the neutral zone to maintain O-zone time.
That's what we've seen so far, man. That's why I give you the crown on that side of it, because that's definitely true. 8:05 left to go in the second. Corey Perry tried to kick it to himself as the fourth line's out now for John Cooper. Belmar gets us around a maroon, and this is played across as Manson tries to keep this one alive near the right dot. And Tampa trying to get something going here. It's been a silent second period right now. No goals. All of the stuff has been done in the first. It's a 3-1 advantage here for the Avs, and I think they got to like it that way considering the way that they're playing. Sergachev gets this and keeps it alive. Kucherov tried to play a pass out, but it bounced right back to the Avalanche where Bowen Byram got this reset for his forwards. Picked up now, playing to Sky. The captain had it. Nathan McKinnon got sawed off the puck there by Stamkos. Kucherov with a sweet little move, but he couldn't find Stamkos, and now this goes to Kel McCarr. Got to watch out for that jet engine there. Cross pass to Chuskin, and I think that was blockered aside by Vasilevsky through a screen. I don't even know how he saw that one. Palat leaves it for Kucherov. Nice toe drag on the backhand, scores! Kucherov with the wizardry. Andre Palat makes it 3-2. And I told you, just like that, you got to watch out for Kucherov. And boy, that was a highlight reel goal and set up there for Palat. Even I could have put that in the back of the net. 3-2 now.
John, on that, what I just saw, the ESPN video cameras just showed me a video game play. That was absolutely incredible. That was someone going crazy with the right stick. That kind of stick handling is otherworldly. Those two players made it look easy, and what we just saw and tried to relay to you on the broadcast was skill at its finest. I want to give Kemper a tip of the cap. He almost got his right skate. In fact, did get his right skate to that puck, actually made contact with it, but the play was so good that Andre Palat just had to tap it by him. What a goal. Massive in this series. 3-2. It should be 4-1. So much momentum for the Avalanche has gone squandered. I'll let you get back to the play-by-play as we're looking at a new hockey game.
Hagel with a shot off the break, and that one just wide. And again, that goal from Kucherov to set that up with the pass off his skate bounced right to Palat. Again, it's 2 goals that had to be scored in superhuman effort against Kemper. So for all intents and purposes here, Cooper, Kemper's been really good. Those are just 2 goals he cannot stop. This goes in! Tampa ties it off the blue line. Mikhail Sergachev again. He's been muddy from distance. And now it's 3-3.
John, what can be said? My mouth is agape. My jaw's on the floor. Tampa Bay is celebrating on the bench, and the way they're celebrating, as I read into this, admittedly, just looks like a confident squad who's been up against it before. I won't lie. As a commentator, as a hockey fan, I was fully expecting this thing to get not blown open, but just to be sealed by Colorado. But when you have a seeing eye shot through a screen, off the post and in, he goes post and in from just inside the blue line. Kemper, again, I'm not going to pin any fault on him, but Sergachev does what he needs to do He goes both posts and net. Killorn throws his stick up in the air. Hedman jumps up on the bench. It's a tie game. The last thing I would have expected after the way the first part of this period went. John, get back to it. I got to shut up and let you go.
There was a good north and south action here for the Avalanche. Big save there by Vasilevsky. We talked about it in the first intermission, and we wanted to go between both of our predictions. I had Tampa in 6, Cooper had Colorado in 6. We both think this is going to be a deep series as you're looking into the Terminator eyes of Andre Vasilevsky. It's breathing new life into a goaltender like that. And Tampa Bay, as I've said, they've been there and done that before. But again, even I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't shocked in the sense of the way that things turn. But Tampa Bay just knows when to get some critical goals and make some plays. And Mikhail Sergachev on that wrist shot from long distance, he had a wry smile on the back end of his face. And I think that's very symptomatic in the way that Tampa Bay loves to play. They're just calm, cool, and calculated. As we got a new game here, 5:35 left to go in the second. Tampa down 2, and now Colorado may be taking a penalty here. I see McDonough on the ice, Cooper. If you can relay to me what you saw on the other end of it, it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, let me take a look here. I'm getting a replay as we speak. It looked like Randon was involved with something near the blue line. McDonough went down. He was sort of skating backwards, trying to keep possession in. I think we're going to have Rantanen heading off, but I do not know what the penalty is for at this moment. As on the ESPN side, I'm getting replays of Kucherov. I mean, I love this close-up shot of him just confidently nodding. Doesn't throw his hands in the air, doesn't jump up and down. He looks at his teammates and nods, knowing that this is what they do. John, you have them winning in 6, and 5 minutes ago, I thought I was the smart one. Well, my friend, you certainly look like the smart one now. As it's 3-3, it might as well be 5-3 Tampa, and it felt the exact opposite way. Tampa on a dime turns the game, and now Colorado looks like they have not looked the entire game as we're in a commercial break here in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. Colorado looks discombobulated, to use a word that you cashed in on earlier in this broadcast. They look unsettled for the first time in this contest. Can they gather themselves? What will it take? They have the players to do so, but guess who has the experience on this stage?
Yes.
To maintain the momentum, to keep the wave strong, to keep the pressure on. It's one team, and they're wearing white and blue, not maroon.
Cooper, I think you nailed it on the head. And again, I would call you smarter than me or smart as I in the sense of what we like to talk about in terms of both the predictions are predictions. And we try to give good factual analysis on both sides. And again, I'm shocked just as you are as much as that changed. But I will tell you this, and I know you'll agree with me on this. You just gave Tampa a new life to get back into this game. They always look poised, no matter what the score is. We've seen this throughout all these runs. It doesn't matter how much they're down by. They come back. Colorado now having to play on their heels. Yes, they are at home. We've seen this happen, though. Again, it's the second period, not the third. Remember, Colorado had a 3-0 advantage in Game 5 against the St. Louis Blues. Lost on home ice 5-4 in overtime. Tampa can certainly, recoil like a cobra and attack you in certain situations that other teams cannot, because they find one little inch of space, they get settled, they run their plays with confidence. And I think it just comes as a core group that is as good as they are. Stamkos in full health. Kucherov, always the machine in the playoffs as he is. Mikhail Sergachev feels like he's been there forever, dude, but it's still 23, 24 years old for Sergachev. So this is an exceptional team. There's no doubt that they could definitely do it again, and they would certainly be in the same odds maker books. And Colorado needs to find themselves right now as we get a little bit of a glass repair, but the puck is going to drop in the neutral zone as this goes to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He won it against Stern, and now this bounces back to the Lightning. And all of a sudden, again, as Cooper had mentioned, it was 3-1 after one. Tampa has scored the next 2 goals in the second period to make this a 3-3 game. 23 shots on goal for Tampa. 23 shots on goal for the Avalanche, 15 for Tampa. And it's one of those situations I can't really blame Kemper, but if you look outside the box score, you would say, look, that's where the problem is in the goaltending. Again, it doesn't equate for what you see in the game. It just looks that way in the box score, but that can happen on the other side. So Colorado needs to respond. This is back in the defensive zone here of the Avalanche. All of a sudden, this game has changed. Picked up now by Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon 1-on-3. He leaves it for a crisscross there for Nichushkin. It got blocked there, but Stamkos' stick is broken. We'll see if Colorado can take advantage of this, as they're essentially a man short. Makar, nice setup there for McKinnon off the backhand, and Vasilevsky said no with the stick. 4:25 left to go in the second period. Makar has it now as he's racing across the red line. Nice fortuitous bounce here for McKinnon, and it gets lost and picked up here by Nikita Kucherov. He just banks this in off the kick play. Palat's got to get back on his horse. There's a little bit of a stick twig in the middle of the right dot as Nichushkin tries to find this. He's got it now. Plays it in between himself, between the skates. Finds Makar in through the screen. Makar almost got a shot off there considering 3 defenders were on him. That tells you how good he is. And the puck goes up on the player's bench. 3:58 left to go in the second.
Boy, a couple things to note here after that excellent sequence, primarily from the Avs. The Avs tilting things back in their favor just a bit. Play was stopped when the puck bounced into their own bench. But, John, it's worth mentioning, you and I, we always see a little bit of everything. And, of course, why not get a change of the glass? Why not get a panel of glass changed in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final? Let's add that to the list of things we've seen. And then Makar making his presence felt yet again. And he had a backhand shot that was about as hard and fast as most folks' wristers. And then he sets up McKinnon for a beautiful redirect that was saved by the blocker of Vasilevsky, which has been a soft spot for him in these playoffs. And, of course, Nathan McKinnon, 11 goals in the playoffs, tied for second most in the league. 3-3, just under 4 to play here. I'll let you get back to it. We got a good one.
So Victor Hedman trying to keep this alive across the red line with Jan Ruda. Using the body check, Victor Hedman gets this out in front for Cirelli. He needs to be able to rattle this around the kick play. He did, because Colorado has responded a little bit since giving up back-to-back goals. I think it's probably important that they take a lead going into the locker room. But again, anything could change. But you'd feel a hell of a lot better about the effort because the second period has been all Tampa. Cirelli surging down the middle of the ice. He's onside. Blocker saved there by Kemper. It bounces back across the blue line. We'll see if Colorado can attack quickly, but instead, they're going to go ahead and take some changes here as Sergachev and Pogosian are on the second line defense. Nice pass by Sergachev. Finds Ross Colton, but he's going to need some help. Slap shot there by Pogosian gets blocked out front by Kemper. And now Colorado with a chance for JT Compher off the breakaway. What a stick save there by the big cat as he keeps it tied near the left dot. Set up there for Byram, and the shot goes wide. Taze keeps it on the right side. Blue line. Another slapper goes right to the kick plate. Makar gets bodied off by Sergachev. It's still pretty loose out in front of the right dot. The fans are waving the towels. Makar from Taze lets it go through the screen. Try to get picked up there by Rantanen. He's near the right dot. He's being chased off the puck there by Sergachev nicely. Kept this on the blue line. Makar with the half spin. He tried to hold off the back skate, and he lost that blue line edge. And Colorado is going to have to reset that offensive pressure. But a turnover was forced by Braden Point, but it was offside. With 2:10 left to go in the second.
Boy, prior to this stoppage of play, John, a really great, as it's called, a bump-up shift for Colorado. They reclaimed a little bit of the momentum. I think that shift from them leading up to this stoppage has kind of evened things again. They had chances, if it weren't for Vasilevsky's stick check, and then another save, which I think was an additional blocker save here. It could be 4-3. Compher was right in on the crease, and then a shot came through that Vasilevsky had to respond to, was able to do so and keep this thing tied. So Colorado, to their credit, has pulled this one back a little bit.
Nicholas Aubé-Kubel tried to keep this alive at the blue line. It was stick saved there by Vasilevsky. So again, Colorado trying to get the stem of the chances here in the last few minutes. Jan Ruda bodied off the puck, and Kemper will find this one. Spin in behind was the defense here of Johnson as he got leveled pretty hard there. And this goes back to Aubé-Kubel. And third line side for O'Connor. O'Connor's going to flutter this one in on the kick play. Picked up here by Anthony Cirelli. Passed down the ice to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Bellemare trying to get around to Gabriel Landeskog now as he gets the interception behind the cage. His Let's Go Avs chants are happening right now at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. We got a tie game with 1:15 left to go in the second. It's spun around, picked up by Palat. Now stolen. Slap shot there. And that went wide. Vasilevsky was out of the goal crease there as there was all kinds of contact in front of him. Probably fortunate that it didn't end up hitting some kind of gaping net as we're down to a minute. So it's 25 shots on goal in favor of the Avalanche, but the score is tied 3-3 as the Lightning have scored 3 on 16. And we get an offsides with 50 seconds left to go. And Chernak is a little bit banged up on the bench, I would imagine at this point. Blocking some shots would be the cause of that. He got bodied up a little bit with Landeskog, maybe got turned around.
Yeah, you're right. I think we're going to start to see the effects of multiple shot blocks, really primarily by the Lightning, though the Avs have blocked a couple as well. Just want to mention we have 26 shots for Colorado, 16 for Tampa Bay, but here we are, 3-3. Inside a minute to play here, 50.1 seconds. Crowd getting back into things, that's always a great indication that that squad that you're rooting for is making their presence felt, and they certainly are. Let's see how this second period finishes up.
So Makar tried to play one through a slot right now, and this goes all the way back. He's going to go back in behind the cage of Kemper. He's going to be the defensive partner of Devin Tays. So you're going to look to get one more breakout here. So Kel Makar is a very good power play quarterback in the sense of even if you're on even strength, he can go ahead and make something happen on his own. And Colorado almost did just that, but it went right into the glove catching hand of Vasilevsky. But you have to be mindful again, as we talk about, and I think Tampa has shown this at times, although some of the goals don't dictate that. Once Colorado gets going, they try to rev those engines here for offense. All it takes is a couple quick strikes, and we've seen that here from Tampa. So the poise has stayed there, but as you said, Cooper, they've kind of leveled this second period out a little bit. And again, whether it's just not to save face to keep the game tied, I think that's wholly important here for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I agree. And, something I want to follow up on a comment I made earlier. You just set me up beautifully, probably without even realizing it. What we did see on the second and third goals for Tampa Bay were quick strikes. They came to the neutral zone quickly. They were not in the O-zone for a long time. It was basically individual play that made those things happen. Let's finish up here, John, as we get to the end of the second.
This goes back near the catching glove of Kemper, and we got a big hit on the other side. We'll see if there's anything called just before the end of this period is my question. Is now we have a bunch of players meeting on the right side. Somebody took a tumble. I don't know if that was Rantanen or McKinnon, but somebody got smoked with an A on their chest there as we're ending the second period tied at 3.
And what I'm seeing here, John, is that's Rantanen and Kaloran getting into it in the trapezoid behind Kemper. And we have reached the end of the second. Looks like no penalties will be called. So 3-3 is your situation, your score heading into the break. And just to finish my thought from a few moments ago,
Sure.
Quick strikes from Tampa, as you pointed out. Great individual plays, a snapshot from distance that went bar to net. And then what I'm still noticing from the Colorado Avalanche, which gives me some confidence in them as we head to the intermission and we get back eventually into the third, is that they have still been able to confidently make their way through the neutral zone and possess the puck in the O-zone. Now, that's going to make a huge difference. Of course, if you cannot stop the quick strikes from your opponent, well, you're going to find yourself with an L at the end of the night.
Right.
But Colorado can take a little confidence in their ability. Their breakouts have looked solid, even when they were a little shaky after giving up the second, and then the tying goals from their Floridian opponents. I'm just interested to see if they can keep their neutral zone play up. That could be a huge factor in this third period.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Like clockwork, Cooper, on that side of it. I think that was very important. Like, look, I understand you were outscored 2-0 in that period, but it's very important for Colorado to still be able to save face in terms of, yes, their offense was still able to flow a little bit. They were able to get some shots on Vasilevsky. They have not looked all that bad because, again, we talk about at least 2 of those goals in there between Palat and Nick Paul. If you're Kemper, are you really blaming him on those? No, I don't think so. I think he's played pretty well. It's a couple of the most ridiculous goals I think we've seen to start a game 1. But we're level after 2, and I could not be more excited.
We are in lockstep, my friend. You're right. I'm so excited at the level of skill that we've seen from both teams and the finishing. And here's the one thing to note is that the elite skill is what was required for Tampa Bay to tie this game. Now, they tapped into it. It's accessible to them at any time, as we've seen, even moments where we do not expect them to have the ability to turn it on. Guess what? Well, they fooled me. They turned it on right before my very eyes and tied this game up seemingly in a flash. And on the other side, credit where it's due, which we've talked about throughout both periods so far. Colorado, when they look like they're at their shakiest, they settle in, they find some ozone time, they get some great chances, really had a couple of high-level opportunities to make it 4-3, and that's got to be a confidence builder as they head to the dressing room and eventually come back out. We got a good one here. I mean, John, with the way it's played out, it is tough. Of course, we've already made our predictions. On one side, yours truly, thinking Colorado in 6. For you, thinking Tampa in 6. I don't think either of us can be fully confident in that because of what we've seen so far.
No, I the only thing I think we can both agree on is it's going to be a long series. Who knows who's going to win this one? And I'm just going to throw this out simply here. We're going to have some names. So I'm looking for part of the story and all that as I talk to you to try to look at some of these names. So Gabriel Landeskog scores for the Avalanche, Val Nichushkin, Arturi Lehkonen, and on the other side it's Andre Palat, Sergachev, and everybody getting the assists are McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, Landeskog again, Cirelli, Hagel, Kucherov. All of the big boys are playing really well for both teams, are they not? We're tied at 3 after 2. That's exactly what you want. This has been an excellent game 1, an excellent start to the Stanley Cup final. The only unfortunate thing, I think, for both of us, but again, you can use a little bit of a break, and we'll figure out how many games we'll cover in this series. Again, I'll be with you as far as long as this series goes. And again, Cooper Hopkins and I will try to get in as many games as we can. But the fact that all the big boys are scoring all these points here and the game's been entertaining, you've seen offense, you've seen defense, you've seen hitting, you've seen everything across the board. This has been a remarkable start to the Stanley Cup final.
No question about it. Periods after every one of those words. No question about it. Tampa Bay scoring 2 goals in a 48-second span to tie this game. They flipped it on us when we least expected it, and I think when the Avalanche least expected it as well, based on how they played basically through the first period and a half of this thing. And I am just so curious to see who's going to end up being the hero tonight. And there will be one. There will be a hero for every outcome, every game of this final. We've, after not mentioning Stamkos, we mentioned Stamkos. We watch him hurdle players to set up passes from behind the net, resulting in scoring chances. We watch Makar chipping into himself, chasing down the puck, setting up shooting opportunities for teammates. We've seen McKinnon with speed. We've seen Palat finishing, beautiful stick handling. We've seen a pane of glass be replaced at Ball Arena. John, every time we work games together, we get exciting play after exciting play. And when you have it, the Avalanche versus the Lightning, at any moment, I mean, we're talking hopeful shots. We're getting everything, all kinds of scoring. And I'm hard-pressed to come away with any cogent argument about who's going to take this thing in the third period, just because they're so evenly matched. Different teams, but evenly matched, and that's what makes the series great.
That's exactly what you want, Cooper. That's exactly what we're getting right now. And again, when you look at it in terms of everybody's got fans of certain teams, again, you and I can call this one without bias to the best of our ability in the sense of it. But if you ask myself and you ask yourself in all honesty, look, I understand the situation with Calgary, and I would understand the situation with the Red Wings if they ever get to that point. But Tampa Bay and Colorado have been the class of both conferences, have they not? Again, when you look at the Florida Panthers, you and I didn't get to do much in that series because thankfully it wasn't even much of a series. Tampa Bay really took care of that. But was this not the 2 teams you'd probably be most excited to watch in the Cup final?
You said it. If you ask me, are these the teams you want to see? If it's not the boys who you're pulling for day in and day out as a fan, this is it. We are seeing the 2 best teams in the National Hockey League go toe-to-toe, and they truly are toe-to-toe. I mean, this is knockdown, drag-out, but with the most beautiful amount of skill. I'm so impressed. There's really no other way to say it. I'm so impressed, and I have to give tips of the cap, of the proverbial cap, to all of these players. Tampa Bay for their longevity, for the fact that they've been able to maintain energy levels, health, to play through injuries, to maintain mental focus on multiple years worth of regular season and playoff runs, and then for the Colorado Avalanche to gel the way they have with players who have been there for many, many years, such as their captain, to new players like Nazem Kadri coming in, Josh Manson, who look like they just slide right into the system. They know their role. They're willing to play it. They're willing to support their teammates. And they are willing to give up the body to reach down deep when they need to into their skill and give everything. And that's what we're getting. And we are only 2 periods into the Stanley Cup final. John, it's incredible.
It really is. So I'm going to ask you to put on your analysis hat. I know you always throw these ones to me. So in the sense of the home team at Ball Arena, what's Colorado got to do to win this one in the third period?
Well, this is a bit of a broad statement, and I think a lot of folks could make it, but it needs to be made. I think they need to get the next goal. They showed an ability to come back in the second period after looking shaky. Like we said, less than a minute is what it took for Tampa Bay to flip the script, surprise everyone, even though we shouldn't be surprised because they're so close to winning 3 cups in a row. But still, the way the Avs were playing resulted in us being surprised by that 48-second span where they scored the second and then the tying goal. So for the Avalanche, I think what they need to do is build upon what we saw near the end, I would say the last 2.5 to 3 minutes of the second period, where they showed us what they were doing for the first period and a half, which is solid neutral zone play, not giving the Lightning really any time near Darcy Kemper, maintaining strong blue line play where it needs to happen, which is, surprise, surprise, right inside the blue line, breaking back out, chipping in when necessary, or skating in, which they have the skill level and speed to do, and maintaining passing lanes, shooting lanes, and rebound opportunities. We saw Comfort get a great rebound opportunity for himself in the second period. That was created from near the blue line. We've seen them break in and rush on net. So Colorado can do it any way they want. I won't specify how they have to do it, but they have to be the team to put shots on net, create rebound opportunities, and get that fourth goal. You know what Tampa Bay can do. They are likely to do it. The more minutes that tick off that clock and it stays tied, the more likely it is, in my mind, that the Lightning get the fourth and potentially game-winning goal. Whether it takes 4 or 5, regardless, I think the next one coming from Colorado is the key.
The latter statement is the truth, Cooper, as you speak it, in the sense of I do believe they have to get this next goal here. They did well, as you said, within the last few minutes. And again, as you pointed out, it doesn't really matter how they get it done. It's the way they get that done. But it's funny, when you're breaking down all of those categories, I'm thinking, okay, essentially they have to beat Tampa in their own game. And that's what really makes it difficult between these two teams. It's just, who do you take? When you got offense and you got defense, with the goaltending stuff aside, everyone's going to go against Vasilevsky, and I get that. But with the high caliber skill on both ends, and again, the quick strikes, as you said, from Tampa, some of the great puck possession that's followed from the Colorado Avalanche, this has made for a very entertaining matchup between 2 periods. For Tampa Bay on the other side, for me, as you pointed out, once that clock gets closer to 0 in that third period, that's when Tampa Bay likely will find one in the end. Hell, they found a way a couple times, even though Mikhail Sergachev in that Game 5 against the Rangers didn't get credit for both. It was just a simple wrist shot that got deflected, and you seen that calm little wry smile there for Mikhail Sergachev to be able to get that one in this game again. So I guess the one thing I will say, and I know it's obvious, but I pray for the next team that takes a penalty, because that might be the one that puts the goal in the back of your net.
Yep, there it is, John. I think, my answer sort of presumed a lot of 5-on-5 play, and I think that you are smart enough to be aware of the fact that it's a near certainty. I mean, look, we've gotten a lot of good back and forth, full strength play here. But there have been multiple penalties in both periods. It's likely we'll see 1, 2, who knows how many. They're relatively disciplined so far, but still, it's hockey. You're going to get a couple of men in the box at some point. Obviously, Tampa Bay flirted with that 5-3 advantage for Colorado. Tampa Bay pays dearly. They are able to answer. But to this point, Tampa Bay over with the man advantage.
Yeah.
If they get the chance, this is to what you just said, they must score.
Yes, and I know it's a lot, and I just want to bring this point home again because I know both of us will be in lockstep on it. I think it's a lot to ask for these defensemen. I mean, I'm not counting Kel McCarr in that situation because I understand he's otherworldly, but it's a lot to ask for these other defensemen that would usually be on the ice to be able to be on guard against a Steven Stamkos, a Palata, Kucherov, a McKinnon, a Landeskog, a Lehkonen on the other side. It's very difficult to not get in your stick in a place where it doesn't belong and cause a trip or get a hit there. So when someone gets an edge on you in either team here, that's all it takes. I understand Tampa Bay has a little bit of a luxury there with Andrei Vasilevsky, but you even seen in this game, as you pointed out elegantly, that there's some shots that Vasilevsky even should have had. I'm not going to talk about the amount of minutes he's logged, but in the sense of everybody's going to be feeling the pressure at this point. And if you're on defense, man, am I holding that blue line? Am I trying to just take a deep breath and calm my nerves? Because anytime those offensive forwards get down there, in a blink of an eye, you can snap your fingers. I can't. In a blink of an eye, there's going to be a goal.
It's true. It's true. And now I feel very self-conscious for you. I think twice in this game so far I've used in the snap of a finger analogy. John, if I've offended you, please let me know. You can boot me off the mic right now.
No, man. I am so happy to have you on here. And again, I know we've talked about it, and I will throw this in there as far as the recording part of it. I'm sorry if I bombard you with too many messages on Instagram. I try to keep it like, one every few days or whatever because I don't want to bombard you. But it's just so nice to be able to call these games free, and hopefully we get a chance to call a winner. I'm glad we get to do this opener here, but it'd be my utter delight to have us call a winner here for the Stanley Cup, and that's what I hope we can get.
Come on, 100%. Listen, you were for whoever hears this, let it be known. John, you were one of the first people to tune in when I was just getting started on Colorcast. I heard about it through a friend. Obviously we're doing this because this is something we both love and have been interested in for a long time. And hey, man, we love the sounds of our own voices, don't we? To some degree, but we also love the games that we call, and certainly at this elite level, when it comes to hockey, it doesn't get better than the Stanley Cup Final. And you, my friend, I appreciate you following up with me. You bug me as much as you want/can, because whenever I'm available, this is always at the top of the list. I know you feel the same way. And man, oh man, I know I joke around about it, but games that you call, John Ott, are exciting as you know what. Pick a swear word. They're exciting as like. Listen, it was, okay, we get a couple of goals in the first period. Oh, wait a second, it's 3-1. Oh, wait a second, it's another John Ott hockey game. 6 goals. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with a baker's dozen. We've done games like that. So I love it no matter what it looks like. And who knows? Will it be what you said? Will it be special teams? Will it be what I said? Will it be the 5-on-5 play and creating shot and rebound opportunities? Could be a little of both. But these teams can play under any circumstances, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever comes our way when we come back to the third.
I truly appreciate those words, man. It means a lot, to be honest with you. And in the sense of it, too, I like the good back and forth that we have. We get an analysis on both sides of it. It's fun. It's passionate about it. You and I both care about what we're doing. That's what makes it fun. And hopefully people get a chance to join in and listen as we continue to do these games. Hopefully Colorcast gets a little bit more of a following so we can get more stuff going, because it's always nice to interact with everybody else as well. But even if it's not, if it's you and I on a broadcast, I get a little bit more pumped for it than just when I'm doing it myself. Because you know how it is. It's always nice to have someone bounce the thoughts back and forth with you, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, amen. It's you and I have both done plenty of of calls where we're flying solo, where it's just us, it's always more interesting. I know you know the game. I know you love the game. What I'm curious about is, dare I even say it, the sad truth, because we're just getting started in this series, but eventually, not too long from now, the hockey season will be over, and we're going to have to move on to some other sports, my friends.
Yeah.
That will be new territory for us. Let's not look too far. Let's enjoy where we are right now. I'm excited. I'm back here on the ESPN feed. Actually, I'm going to throw up the second period summary because I got it right in front of me.
Cool.
6 scoring chances for the Avs, 5 for the Lightning. 2 goals in the period for Tampa Bay, 0 for the Avalanche. Although the Avalanche did have 11 shots, the Bolts 9. So interesting numbers there, but where it matters the most, visitors put 2 in to tie the game. And John, I don't know what more we can say here. I think we're just going to have to sit back and enjoy this thing and do the listeners the best justice that we can as we call this thing and get through regulation.
John Cooper on the Sportsnet side, he put his belief system in terms of what he thinks creates a good hockey team. Belief, support, trust, and confidence in what you're doing was one of the 4 of 9 bullet points that they showed on Sportsnet. And those are typical ingredients that you can put in any hockey team. But when you have the offense and defensive tenacity that both of these squads have, that makes it all the more important. So we're back within the official action now. We are tied at 3. This is in the defensive zone of the Avalanche, kept across the blue line by Hedman. Shot to the screen, and that one goes high as Cirelli, and Colton was out in front of it, but it went past the stick of Kemper. Gloved down nicely here by the Lightning, but it's turned over, and this is a chance for Nichushkin. It's 1-on-3. He gets a wrist shot on the Big Cat. He makes the glove save. 19:31 left to go in the third.
Boy, I'd love to see that early play there. Colton with a backhand chance on the doorstep, and he slaps his stick blade down on the ice after missing what he thought should have been goal number 4 for Tampa Bay. So we're 29 seconds in, getting some chirping, getting the replay on the ESPN side, that one going up over the shoulder and really about 4 or 6 inches over the bar above Kemper. Colton heads back to the bench, shaking his head. Really nice early opportunity. Oh, and I see right there, he actually slammed the door. So Colton thought he really should have had number 4. Interesting.
Love the passion on that one. That was a good wrist shot opportunity. He still obtained off the backhand, though, so you got to like the effort. Back into the action right now, about 19:15 left to go in the third period. Tied at 3. Vasilevsky comes out of the goal crease, plays this one. Might be a race for the puck. We'll see who gets to it first. Bowen Byram gets the hybrid icing. Pat Maroon. We're going to do this again. So the 49 shot attempts to 43. That's in favor of the Avalanche. But the shots on goal after 2, I know I had those ones written down in my notes. It was 26-17 in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. And again, it's one of those situations, if you look in the box score in the paper, or whoever does that anymore nowadays, you would see that, some of those shots are against Kemper, but again, those ones could not be saved, at least 2 of those. Taves, Makar lets it go through the top of the slot. This is found. Vasilevsky will stick this one away just in time before a good chance for Nichushkin as this goes back to the blue line. Now the Avalanche defensive core on the first line can set it up. Nichushkin keeps it alive off the backhand. Elegantly tries to skate through McDonough. Left it here. Makar, wrist shot, pinballs toward the left side dot. Picked up now by the Lightning as they can flutter this one down. This eludes McKinnon, but not Cale Makar. Here he goes. What a great move. Gets toward the left, leaves it back for McKinnon near the slot. And the pass went just wide. Cale Makar, man, in an instant turns into a jet engine. Nichushkin, Makar, Byram try to put it in toward the right dot. Manson with the stick out there. This goes back to Colorado. He's going to wire this one around the kick plate. It goes near the left eye now for Bowen Byram. So Byram's been out there for quite a while. Stamkos gets to flutter this one out, but it's turned over. Helm with a shot. And it's stopped by Andrei Vasilevsky. And if Darren Helm scores, and I have to call that goal, my voice might go up a couple octaves with 18 minutes left to go in the third.
Yes, if Darren Helm starts becoming a high-level goal scorer, you're going to have to send a handwritten letter to your neighbors because you got to let them know that you're going to be screaming at the top of your lungs, my friend. But listen, great play in a nice extended sequence there for the Avs. This is what we saw from them once they settled in team, Vasilevsky being called into action, and really solid setups. Patience from the Avs before they set up the shot attempt. That's what I'm seeing.
Yes, Cooper, that poise in the locker room, that reset, that kind of pick up within the last few minutes and then started now, has looked good for the Avalanche. I'm enjoying that part too. Byram into the screen. This eluded Vasilevsky, but it's near the left side faceoff dot. Byram plays it across for Johnson and right into the catching glove of Vasilevsky.
So the Avs doing what they need to do here to keep pressure on and stay in the O-zone. This is sort of what I was expecting to see based on the end of the second period, but Vasilevsky just doing what he does, playing at his best. Calm, answering the call when he is called upon. We've seen some good stick work from him tonight in multiple periods with stick checks, including on a partial breakaway in the second period. 29 shots now for Colorado, 17 for Tampa Bay. We're inside. We've got about 2 minutes and 15 seconds of elapsed here in period number 3. Fans waving those white pom-poms here at Ball Arena. John's on the play-by-play, and he's back at it.
So 4 shots to nothing in the period so far in favor of the Avalanche. They're trying to get the next goal. It's all important at home right now. Good stick check there by Rantanen, but he got bodied off the puck by Sergachev, and Tampa Bay can restart this thing in their own end. Look, it doesn't matter what the shots on goal say, even though they're in favor of 12 for the Colorado Avalanche at 29-17. The next goal is the most important thing, whether or not it's cliche. It really matters in a game like this in comparison to Tampa Bay and Colorado. We'll see who's going to get this one. Kel McCarr, and behind his own net, is going to leave it here for Arturi Lehkonen off the backhand side, and now Manson going to get this one going. Byram trying to pick this up. He lost it near the right side of the blue line, and this gets chipped down back to the Colorado defense, and they can reset this one more time. And it looks like McDonough got upended, but he was almost able to create a steal. Andre Palat's now on this thing as Kel McCarr is trying to race away from him. Well, Byram's been out there for about 2 minutes on the other side, and they're not going to be able to change because it's an icing. There's 16:30 left to go, tied at 3.
Worth mentioning here, just want to bring up a name that we talked about during the open before we dropped the puck for tonight's game. He is back on the ice for the first time in this playoffs for Tampa Bay. Braden Point. ESPN stats showed that Braden Point, when he is on the ice for Tampa Bay, the team has a plus 50 goal differential in the playoffs. And he's got an assist tonight. So doing exactly what his last name would suggest. He's creating opportunities, 1 assist. I'm going to let John get back to it. Let's see if Braden Point makes a difference here with about 16 minutes to play in the third.
Face-off won by Tampa. They tried to center something out in front, and Kemper had the shot go open on a play. So it's going to stay here with the Lightning. 16-18 remaining in the third. Again, Tampa Bay is on the road for the 4th straight series. In Colorado, the only time they wouldn't be at home is if they had to play against the Florida Panthers. But the Tampa Bay Lightning took care of that. So John Cooper probably has admitted as poorly as he felt in that second period, 2 straight goals might have changed that effort level. And this champion-level team that's trying to go back-to-back-to-back has scored the last 2. It was 2-0 edge in the second period, and the face-off edge heavily favors the Lightning right now, 59% to just 41%. And you cannot understate the importance of that, especially when you get ozone draws. So again, it is won by Tampa, and they can reset. Fluttered out in front for Kemper, and it went just to the left of the blue paint. I'm getting a little bit of an overhead camera here on Sportsnet. Nichushkin, as that pinballs off the stick of Vasilevsky, and now Tampa can try to work a 4-on-3. They get the zone edge there with Palat. He gets worked over there a little bit. Might have been momentarily tripped, but that's not going to be called. Not too much of a stick there. Taves going to leave it here for McCarr. Nice move by McCarr. Draws 3 defenders, and it goes right to the back end of the red line. My goodness, every time he touches the puck, you got to look out. Nathan McKinnon in behind the goal crease there of Kemper, and McKinnon can get this one started. He leaves it for Byram. Byram now. Taves will get this one down the ice. And this goes to Victor Hedman, but it's not out. Victor Hedman turned it over. Burakovsky holding it to high slot. It goes wide, and now it goes up and over the right bar. Vasilevsky wouldn't have been able to make the save. He couldn't even track where it was. Held by the blue line now. Burakovsky trying to get around Hedman, and that 6'5" body shut him off. Jan Ruda gets this around the kick plate, and now it is turned over. Nick Paul with one of the glorious goals that you've seen out of Brandon Hagel. Hagel trying to stick check a little bit, and Colorado now trying to reset in their own end as JT Compher gets the pass to his defense now. Trey Lehkonen with the backhand, and O'Connor hits Sergachev, tries to feed this near the right faceoff dot. Nick Paul got it turned over. It was Helm. O'Connor now in behind the cage. Gives it to Johnson. Pass across. Shot goes to the left of the kick play. This is going to bounce right back to Johnson. O'Connor didn't play this one. It bounced out in front. It went away from Vasilevsky near the left side. What a block there out in front as the guns were loaded on a one-timer. And Tampa just saved a goal on defense. Here comes Braden Point. He took a stick to the face, and that's going to be called. And Tampa Bay is going to go to the power play. What a shot block that was by Tampa just in the previous sequence.
Boy, John, there is so much that we could talk about there. That was some extended play right there without stoppages. There were fits and starts, but then we got several minutes in a row of extended play. Braden Point's name coming up, one that we mentioned, came up for a very interesting reason. He draws a penalty. Now we're going to see, my friend, if what you talked about during the break between periods is going to come into play. Tampa Bay 0 so far on the man advantage. They've got to do something right here. This has got to be their opportunity. It's their best opportunity this period, most certainly. And Colorado seemed to have the extent of the momentum in this third so far. Tampa Bay with a great chance right here.
So after O'Connor just missed on the left side of the bar, went up and over Vasilevsky, he took a penalty, slap shot saved by Kemper off of Nikita Kucherov, and this goes back down the ice. That was an absolute howitzer that Kucherov let go, and now Victor Hedman will get this one. He's going to play this back here for Ruda, or they can go with Kucherov wherever else Kucherov's got it now. Kucherov's going to leave this here for the captain, Steven Stamkos, and that was an egregious turnover there. There was a lot of time. Again, not a lot of bodies back there for Colorado. They're trying to kill the penalty there, but that was a waste of time there off a missed pass. About 25 seconds of the power play is going to elapse. A minute 20 left to go in it. 13:30 left to go in the third. Palat, entry. Hedman trying to find this thing, plays it in between his skates. Stamkos has it now near the left dot. Hedman, Kucherov with a slapper. What a sacrificial block there by Sturm as he gets that one down, and Colorado will clear. The power play is down to a minute. Vasilevsky with a bomb pass looking like Mike Smith. It finds Kucherov. Here's a chance for Stamkos, but he needs some help near the left faceoff. Dodgers trying to draw defenders and pass it around the kick plate. Here's a chance for Palat. Kucherov now near the left dot. Sergachev has it near the high slot. Shot goes to the screen. Corey Perry has it in behind the office. He lost it. Colorado gets it down, but not out. Kucherov blew a tire, and now it's going to allow Colorado to reset this thing and clear it down once more as Tampa's power play goes down to 25 seconds, and they could be looking at an 0 for 3 in this game right now, with 3-3 tie when they really need this one on the power play. It's turned over. Here's a chance for Compher, and it fell right to the goal stick of Vasilevsky. He's going to take his time. He's going to play it behind the cage. Look out a little bit behind you for Mikhail Sergachev, as that looked a little dangerous. The pass was played in between the legs and then turned over again by Tampa. They couldn't get anything going on their third power play either. The second and third power play has looked pretty suspect. Just one shot. Here's a chance off the even strength. This gets dumped in by Hagel. Passed around there by Kemper. Picked up by Killorn. Killorn finds Chernak. Chernak through the screen. It's loose out in front of the slot. Another shot goes wide as this goes near the right dot. Colton being worked over there pretty heavily there. Belmar trying to be the one Tampa Bay Lightning player to go ahead and forecheck this thing with Hagel as this goes back across the red line. So I notice a lot of puck possession right now for Tampa, but not a lot to do with it yet. Dumped in around the red line off the slap shot. Hagel trying to get to this thing. This is bouncing to the left side red line and now the left dot. Belmar going to circle around and just shoot this thing around the kick plate. Picked up now by Gabe Landeskog, the Colorado captain. It's picked up now by Makar, I believe, that tried to skate through 3 different defenders in his own end, and then laid a body down with a huge hit. And then he got reverse hit on the other side. How good do you have to be to do that between two defenders? I would be scared to play that puck like that if I was a regular defenseman. Back around the red line side. Vasilevsky doesn't have to play this one. This goes to Ruda. Ruda gets hit off the puck there. As O'Connor comes back and cleans it up. Steven Stamkos trying to get on Jack Johnson off that check, and this goes across the red line. Nikita Kucherov's going to leave it back here for the big Victor Hedman in behind the goal cage, and this has been some good action on both sides with not a stoppage here. As the Let's Go Avalanche chants are having a ball arena. We're in a 3-3 tie. We're almost at the halfway point of the third period. Played nicely out in front. Here's a chance for Kucherov. And this shot goes up and up the kick plate. It bounced right in front of Kemper, but the Colorado Avalanche were there to clear this one out as they're trying to attack right to left with Sturm. He's going to take his change, and Vasilevsky will play this one back for Pat Maroon. This hits across the red line. We finally get a stoppage as this hits the players' bench with the 10:07 mark in the third.
John, do not say a word until we are back at you. That was a beautiful run from a broadcasting standpoint and a beautiful run from a hockey standpoint, really by both of these squads. I mean, some excellent play right there, really fluid play, and just my recency bias here. Cale Makar, once again, just doing it all. Maintaining possession in the D zone, stick handling, getting the puck off to a teammate, and then blasting Hagel behind Kemper and making it look easy. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic what he can do. And I want to just mention as we head to this commercial break, tell me your thoughts. What do you think about the play of JT Compher tonight? He's been very noticeable to me for the Avalanche. Has had multiple. If they're not, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at natural stat trick. I'm not sure if they're technically high danger scoring chances, but he's been in and around the crease with the puck. He had a breakaway opportunity in the second. He was on the doorstep, and you called it a couple of times. Sends a shot, kind of fluttering up and over where the crossbar and the pipe meet. That could have been the 4-3 goal for the Avs, but JT Compher's really been around it. Any thoughts on what he's done tonight?
Is it fair to say that even though he hasn't put a goal on the goal sheet, that he looks like one of the best forwards here for the Colorado Avalanche? Look, I don't necessarily have to believe that you have to be able to score, to be able to do some damage or get on the score sheet. It's about consistently creating chances, which then opens up your other teammates to be able to do some things. He's been very noticeable tonight, as you said. I loved his game.
Definitely. And I mean, listen, always a credit to the player when they're also out there on the PK. And that's where he was killing that third power play opportunity for Tampa Bay. I think you feel the same way that I do. By no means was it a disaster. They weren't trapped in their own end or fumbling the puck on every breakout attempt. But there were turnovers, no real crisp scoring opportunities for them. Nothing that felt like they were there was going to be an imminent goal for them on the power play. Colorado did what they needed to do, and I think that Tampa Bay squandered a chance there.
I think along the lines of your point here, Cooper, in the sense if you look at that third line, in between what you said with Compher, and I'll even throw out O'Connor, they've been very noticeable in the third line and in the penalty kill, as you said. I think they probably outplayed the third line of Tampa in that respect. As we're back within the action, it's a long shot that is gloved and then played to Bowen Byram as we officially hit the halfway mark of the third period. 9:50 left to go in this tie game unless we have overtime. And if we do, I'll need to take a break to get another bottle of water here. As this goes back across the red line, picked up now by Josh Manson. Gotta wonder how he feels since coming over from the Anaheim Ducks. All you want is a chance to be able to play for the cup, and he's got a chance to do that with 4 more wins on both sides, as we're just in game 1 here. So game 2 is not going to be until Saturday, so everybody's going to be able to take a little bit of a break and catch their breath, because this game has been absolutely exceptional, and who knows if we're going to have overtime looming. Braden Point, high off the kick play now. This falls back to Makar. Makar is going to calmly play this one to Taves, and again, every time Makar touches the puck, something happens. Nathan McKinnon, slap shot there for Taves off the back end of it. It eluded the stick of Val Nichushkin. It's turned over. McKinnon in the high slot. Let's go. What a save by Vasilevsky. And Landeskog takes a seat there from Palat. But you got to mark that one down again. I know I've repeated myself on that one, but that is a high danger chance. One of the best in the world. and Vasilevsky made it look easy.
John, perfect call. Nathan MacKinnon, I think, was almost surprised to find himself with so much time and space there in the slot. Vasilevsky, basically, just on his positioning alone, able to make that stop. The shot, too, happened to be really right at his midsection. MacKinnon had not a ton of net to shoot at, but I think if he had it back, would like to find maybe more of a pinpoint location to put that wrist shot in. But Vasilevsky doing what he does, that's a massive reason why Tampa Bay are where they are. And Nathan MacKinnon, again, another chance for Colorado to make it 4-3. Vasilevsky slams the door shut. We stay tied. And you said this a couple minutes ago. I'm going to say it outright. I think we do have overtime looming. As soon as we cross that 10-minute mark here in the third, it just feels like an OT game. We'll see what happens as we get closer to the end of the regulation.
I know we said this in the first period, but it bears repeating. A couple of those goals, maybe you're thinking Vasilevsky looking a little shaky. Can he find his game? Oh, he certainly found it right now. And he's every bit the reason, as you said, Cooper, the reason why this game is tied at 3. Whether or not it's shot at him or not, you said it perfectly there with the positioning. That makes all the difference there. The preparation and work just before the shot gets to you. That's why Vasilevsky is such a damn good goaltender. And if we do have overtime, man, again, I said I'm going to go get that bottle of water real quick, and then I will jump back up here whether or not we're going to take an extended break, because once we hit the OT, there will be no breaks unless we get a momentary ice scrape.
It's true, and this may be a microcosm of what we were looking at for the series. We could be in it for the long haul tonight and during the final. The way these teams are deadlocked right now, again, we're looking for, it's going to be one man is a hero. It's looking like the fourth goal is going to be the game-winning goal. I'm not expecting a goal-scoring spree here in the remainder of the third, but of course, anytime you or I make a statement like that, we get 4 goals in the next 4 minutes. So we'll see what we have here with 8:55 to play, 3-3, Colorado, Tampa Bay, 32 shots for the home team, 19 scoring chances, and we are going at it again.
So Colorado trying to get across the red line now as they're looking to break out. Nathan MacKinnon was glorious on the previous sequence. Here he comes again off the backhand. Near the right dot, setting it up in the high slot for the D for Makar. Makar whistles his way into the slot, but there's too many bodies out in front. Another shot gets blocked. Colorado still with it. It's around the right dot. Extra pass for Makar to Chuskin. What a stop there by Vasilevsky as Tampa Bay can clear this one down the ice, and expertly at that as they avoid an icing. I'd be a little tired at that. But between Makar and MacKinnon, within the last, I would say, 4 or 5 minutes or so, they've been getting all the danger chances. And we talked about in the open of the preview show yesterday, those are the two guys that can't get the consistent chances. Egregious pass there in the slot gets turned over, pinballed ahead there, and it's going to be Maroon trying to play this one to himself, trying to join on the fourth line, keep it alive as it's drowning pool. Bodies are hitting the floor everywhere. Picked up now by Corey Perry. He's in behind the cage, trying to play this one out in front, and it finds the Maroon and Cerulean, and they can clear this one out with Mikko Rantanen. Sergachev, able to avoid a body, is tamping out and try to transition left to right across the radio dial. They're in a 3-3 tie of Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals with 7:15 left to go in regulation. Unless we get a goal, we're going to be headed to overtime here if we don't get one within the next 7:10. Devin Tays now in behind the cage of Darcy Kemper. Tays is going to play this across from Makar. Makar with the outlet pass. There to Darren Helm. So the third line's out there right now with Helm, O'Connor, Nicholas Obey-Bell, probably mixing a little bit with Landeskog, I see as well. As Jared Bednar is kind of moving those lines all the way around. You want to make sure these guys don't get tired at this point. Kucherov, what a pass. Going to set one up near the right dot, trying to find it for Andre Palat. Andre Palat expertly kept it alive. Kucherov through the screen, and the shot goes wide as Stamkos tried to tip that one out of the air, but it just missed the stick. The captain gets on it now for the Lightning. It gets turned over there nicely as Darren Helm gets the interception. Devin Tays played it ahead. Kel Makar with the half spin, and then another reverse hit to knock the man off the puck. So Kel Makar, not the biggest guy on the ice, but he's able to lay the body and do a little bit of everything. This is near the right dot now where this goes to Zach Bogosian. Zach Bogosian had a series of moves against the New York Rangers. I have to imagine as this puck is not iced, or it is iced. 6:10 left to go in the third. That you watch Bogosian make some of those moves he makes. That Colorado is not going to let him do that.
Okay, I just want everyone who does hear this broadcast to not let this one specific slide. John Ott, your play-by-play broadcaster tonight, in stride while calling a game on his active play-by-play, not during a break, mind you, drops in a 2000s hard rock reference, let the bodies hit the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, when you don't think John Ott has another gear, he's shifting right now, and he is at full speed, just like both of these teams. Drowning pool, John. Well done. That's all I have to say in this break. We're back to the action here with just about 6 to play.
That's one of those ones I love to put in. I'll have to find some new ones here as we get to the next part of the season when the finals are over, but I appreciate that one. We're back underneath the action now as it's 5:45 left to go in the third. Puck is turned over here. Colorado has a chance to keep this alive and onside, and the slap shot for Byram goes just wide. Landeskog, Nichushkin, it eludes them, and this goes back to Nick Paul. Nick Paul tries to chase it to himself again, and he does so, but he's going to have to pay the price for it as it goes back around to Byram. Paul has it, though. He got around Byram. He's got it near the left dot, trying to shoot it over the left side of the mask of Kemper, and this goes back to Chernak to the screen. Paul's got it again. This has been a yeoman shift for him. Near the left dot, holding off the backhand, sending it back around the blue paint. This goes back to the defense again as Paul keeps it alive once more, but his slap shot goes rattled down the kick plate, and this goes back to Eric Chernak. 4:55 left to go in this fast-moving third period. It certainly feels that way, Cooper. 33 shots on goal for the Avs with 3 goals, 20 shots for the Lightning for 3 goals. Hedman turns around, and he's going to try to get settled in his own end. This is across the red line now. Tampa dumps this in. Kemper plays this one around to Alex Killorn as it almost got intercepted. And now here's a chance for Burakovsky. Nice pass ahead. The shot gets saved by Vasilevsky near the right stick. Killorn picks it up now, but he overskated it. See if Colorado can make something happen out of this. Jan Ruda's got to hustle back. Spin this around his own end. Belmar, pass goes wide of him, but he's the one that can get set up on the other side. This Killorn's going to leave it, but it's an offside entry. 4:09 left to go in the third.
Well, John, I think it's certainly safe to say at this point that we are staring OT right between the eyes. Some good play there in that last extended sequence from the Lightning, but I would still say, I think it's safe to say, just like our comment about overtime, I think it's safe to say that Colorado has been the more dangerous and effective team this period. McKinnon alone has had some chances that very easily could have made this game 4-3. What a game one we're getting, and I know we are now in a commercial break. Listen, I'm just going to open up the floor to you, my friend. You've been killing the play-by-play here. Any thoughts about what it's going to take? I mean, are we waiting for a mistake, or do you think we're on the other side of the spectrum where we're looking at something like what we saw in the second period with the Bulls, where just an exceptional individual play is what we're going to find tonight that makes the difference for the eventual winner?
I'm going to go for the latter in the sense of what I've seen from the Lightning a few times. It returns into an exceptional play that goes back to a pass in the point, and a shot gets deflected from one of the defenseman's shots, and it goes in, and that's how one of these guys wins the game. I'm going to say that's going to be the action for Tampa Bay and Colorado. Great individual play to set it back up on defense, and a shot gets deflected for a goal. That's what I'm feeling here, especially in overtime.
Yeah, I think if and when we get to an OT period here, it's going to be very interesting to see if there are any changes in the style of play for both teams. This is something we've touched on throughout the broadcast. Of course, they're already reliant upon different styles to succeed. A lot of times the team that tightens up a little bit excessively or shells up to any degree that actually almost inadvertently opens the door for their opponent to create scoring chances. So we've seen a back and forth flow, especially as the game's gone on, and even more so, especially in this third period. The fans at Ball Arena are going crazy. We'll see if they can lend a little boost to the cerulean and maroon, as you like to say. I love the specificity on the color. And we're back here with just a few minutes to play. Let's see if we get that OT or if someone is the hero.
So on Sportsnet, they're showing Julian Breezewell and Joe Sakic, no stranger to pressure in terms of the GM and a player for either one of those sides, especially on Sakic's end. It's game one. It's tied 3-3 with 3:40 left. Shot goes tipped right out in front of Kemper. He somehow brushed that one aside, and Tampa might have something happen almost just by accident here off the neutral zone draw. But Colorado can get this thing settled here with Johnson. Johnson will chip this one in. This goes back to Andre Vasilevsky, and Tampa can certainly take their time now. Victor Hedman and Mikhail Sergachev will pass this one in behind the cage of the Big Cat, and now this goes back down the ice. Picked up now by the defense, and this goes to Devin Tays. He's going to bounce this one off the kick play, but it's intercepted there by Tampa in an offside entry with 3:03 left to go in this third period.
Well, John, now things have, I don't want to say tightened up since our last break, our TV timeout. Tampa Bay had an interesting opportunity there to settle the puck behind their goaltender and break out, but play is stopped. And I wouldn't say momentum is really pointing in any direction, one or the other at this point. 3:03 to go here in the third. Threes everywhere. Threes, that's the number of goals scored by both squads. Final period of regulation. Get the interesting shot here of the watch party in Colorado, Tivoli Quad in Denver. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting sequence. Back to the play-by-play on your side, my friend.
So this goes, as you said, up to someone to make an individual play, and I think that's what's going to happen. Nathan McKinnon almost tried to do that himself, and he's capable, but it goes back to Chernak now and behind the cage of Vasilevsky. We got 2:30 left to go in this third period. Is overtime looming, or do we have a goal in the final minute? You might get a voice crack on my side if that's the case. This goes back now and behind Kemper, and the defense can get settled here for Colorado. Got to watch out for Alex Killorn. Gets turned over across the red line, and Tampa can go ahead and get a single forechecker there as Cirelli tried to play. Nice move by Killorn to get around his man, but it fell to Colorado here. They're trying to get this out of their own end now across the red. You got 2 minutes left to go in this third. Vasilevsky will take his time. He's going to leave it here for the defense. So Jan Ruda is going to go pick up Darren Helm with O'Connor trying to force a turnover. O'Connor blew a tire, and now it's 2-on-3. Slap shot. Stopped there by Kemper with the left side goal stick. A stick fell. In behind the cage, a pass was sent out in front for Belmar, but it was active 6 by Colorado. Helm near the left face-off dot. Shot gets fluttered aside and stopped there by Vasilevsky. And now this is going to get picked up by Zach Bogosian. Is this going to be a delay of game? 1:24 left. This is going to go against the Tampa Bay Lightning for delay of game. And John Cooper cannot believe it.
Oh my gosh, John. I am stunned. Obviously, this is a little bit of bad luck here. John Cooper, the shot I just saw on ESPN, mouth wide open. I don't think he can believe it. I can't. It's Patty Maroon in the box once again. Just under 90 seconds to play here in regulation, 3-3. And this comes on the heels of Tampa Bay creating 2 opportunities. Killorn almost walked the Colorado Avalanche defense and would have been in alone on the doorstep against Kemper. And then another opportunity bouncing out in front. Tampa Bay couldn't convert either. And now it's power play time for Colorado. Could this be it?
So Landeskog and Paul went on the draw, won by the captain. Makar has it in the high slot. He lost it there momentarily to Rantanen. I'll pick this one up. This goes back in now for Landeskog. Now Rantanen. They play catch. Landeskog has it now. Leaving it here for Kel Makar. McKinnon fakes the slap shot, walks in instead. And the shot goes wide, held across the blue line there by Rantanen. Makar, McKinnon. Shot blockers are down here for Tampa. They thought McKinnon was going to take it. He's going to drive the net. Pass across. And I think Vasilevsky got a glove on it. Landeskog has it now. In behind the cage. Good puck movement there. But it couldn't be corralled, as that would have been a certain goal. but that was some good defense by Anthony Cirelli, who has to go take a quick change. 30 seconds left to go in this third. No matter what happens, if we don't get a goal, it's going to carry over. Here's a chance entering all alone. And now the shot goes up, and not out of play, but it goes back to Sergachev. And now here's a chance for Killorn. He's going to try to counter, although it's 1-on-2. He needs some help. Hedman with his wrist shot. He tries to bank it off Kemper off the goal stick. And now it's down to 10 seconds left to go in the third. Does Colorado have one last rush? Rantanen trying to skate in between three Lightning, Bo and Byram. Trying to get back in behind there. Look who's in front of Byram. What a shot block there by Sergachev. Byram could have had a chance at it, but Sergachev also stopped the next opportunity. And now we can all catch our breath. We're headed to overtime.
John, I want to make it known the best scoring chance during that portion of this power play prior to the end of regulation was not a scoring chance for Colorado. It was Victor Hedman in the center of the slot.
Yes.
The only reason he did not get a shot off is a diving stick check by Rantanen. The assistant captain stopped the Tampa Bay Lightning from potentially winning this game on a shorty. As I watched it unfold and heard your call, I was expecting Hedman until the last split second to get a shot off from point-blank range, was unable to do so. Great job by the Avalanche to sell out when they needed to. And I'm not sure. We are now at the end of regulation. John, I want to get your thoughts on the first 90-plus seconds of this power play for Colorado. Give me your opinion. Do you feel like they were setting up for almost too perfect of a shot attempt? It seemed like they had some great work going on from McKinnon and working high to low, blue line down. I think they may have looked for the perfect shot when really they just needed to fire on net. What are your thoughts? Maybe I'm wrong.
No, there was some good cross passing back and forth for a couple shots here and there, but look, to your point, in that extent of Nathan McKinnon, where he could have shot it when there were shot blockers down, they were expecting him to go ahead and try to take that shot. He was able to his first extent to get the guy to bite. Then all of a sudden, you know what you should do? You should just be picking up one of those corners like cherries. He's good enough to do that, even on Vasilevsky. So, yes, there probably was a little bit too much of the pass, but they still got some good opportunities. And to your point with Mikko Rantanen, let's drive this home as well. Not only did he get back on the back check in the previous sequence to stop Victor Hedman, he also almost set up his teammate for the game-winning goal in the last 30 seconds of the third period. What an effort there by Mikko Rantanen.
Absolutely. That's something I will not forget because Victor Hedman is more than capable of finishing from a number of spots, let alone 6 feet away. And Darcy Kemper would have been hard-pressed to make a stop right there. But also, since we now are at the end of regulation, let's just say it. Darcy Kemper has looked legitimately good tonight. When he's needed to, he's made saves. When he's needed to be calm, steady, focused, check, check, check. The goals that have gone in, nothing. We're not talking about any Mike Smith gaffes behind the net. We did see the one bomb pass that you called it from Vasilevsky. I like that Mike Smith reference right there. But Kemper's been playing within himself and keeping his team in this game. And here we are heading to overtime.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, everybody talks about those storylines, and I think only the Avalanche fans, I'm going to go ahead and say, because like I said, I referenced it earlier at the start of the broadcast, is like, don't sleep on Kemper. He can play well. And as to your point, Cooper, talking about having all 4 of those games off, not having to play against Edmonton Oilers. Yes, I know he's been battling some head injuries and things like that, but he's looked very solid. And as we pointed out, between at least two of those goals that were given up, not really on Kemper here, but again, all the nerves and intense and pressure and all of that, even regardless of being at home, it's on the Avalanche now in overtime. Tampa Bay is not shaking in their boots in any regard. They've been in elimination many, many times, and overtime games such as this in an opener means nothing to them. So it's very important because it could happen within this 30 seconds here to start this period. This could be over. It's very important Tampa gets on and kills this one. And maybe if you're the Colorado Avalanche on the other side, don't be giving up some kind of fast break opportunity, so to speak. I know it's a basketball reference, but you could find a goal in the back of your net.
Absolutely. And And something I want to touch on here, OT records this postseason for these squads. Tampa Bay, again, to their credit as a team, only taken to overtime once. They won that game, so their record 1-0. And on the other side, Colorado 4 overtime games in these Stanley Cup playoffs, 3 wins, 1 loss. So there's confidence on both sides. And this is a place Tampa Bay hasn't found themselves very often, just a 1 overtime game. But like you said, it's almost irrelevant. Their amount of experience negates almost everything. They can handle any situation that they're put in, and I fully expect them to come out and yes, let it be known they must kill the remainder of the penalty. If Colorado wins the faceoff at center ice and is able to set up in the O-zone, they're going to be able to have potentially a small handful of opportunities, depending on the way the puck bounces. But if the Lightning can come away from that and we're still tied, look out, because I think they might be shot out of a cannon in the overtime period.
No doubt about it, Cooper. I'm going to stop this recorder here momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and get some water, and then I'm going to resume everything here for the overtime, if that's okay with you. I'm going to get everything squared away here.
Yes, indeed. Take a quick break, my friend. And, for the folks who are with us, you got John Ryan Ott, one of the top hockey voices on Colorcast, on your play-by-play tonight. Game 1 of the 2022 Stanley Cup Final from Denver, Colorado, at Ball Arena. Your home squad, the Colorado Avalanche, against the visiting Tampa Bay Lightning. My name is Cooper Hopkins. I'm on color for you this evening, and we are in a break between regulation and the beginning of our overtime period. 3-3. No goals scored in the third period. Tampa Bay was down at one point in the second period by a score of 3-1, and in less than 60 seconds, in fact, in less than 50 seconds, they are able to come back and tie this hockey game. So thanks to everyone for joining us. John and I are just taking a momentary break. There's been a lot of action here, a lot of extended play without stoppages. So John, understandably, is going to wet the whistle a little bit, grab some water. I'm going to do the same. We'll be back in just a moment. And stay with us. We've got a fantastic start to the Stanley Cup Final.
This one almost to the far blue line, so just being really assertive with his decision making on the puck this time. Again, in the third, little forehand, backhand fake, double pressure by Colorado. They still maintain possession. So despite maybe the rocky start, he continued to display that high level of confidence with the puck.
I'm glad he has the confidence, because I get a little bit nervous.
So worth noting here, I don't want to leave our listeners hanging too long. Worth noting that the Colorado Avalanche are on a power play. There was a delay of game against Pat Maroon of the Tampa Bay Lightning with about 90 seconds left to play in regulation. Tampa Bay has been able to kill the penalty thus far. And there were a couple of good scoring chances set up primarily by Nathan McKinnon, the highly skilled Colorado Avalanche forward. But on the other side, Victor Hedman actually came through and almost had a shorthanded game-winning goal. He was right on the doorstep in the slot, but a back-check diving stick prevented a shot. And that was Rantanen of the Avalanche, the assistant captain, who basically saved the game for his team right there. But speaking of the gentlemen who have scored tonight, let's give you a recap of how we got to where we are, as we're still in commercial break here, waiting to start the overtime period between the Avs and Bolts. In the first period at 7:47, Gabriel Landeskog with assists from Byram and Rantanen. He makes it 1-0. And then Colorado doubles that lead. Valentin Shushkin, his 6th of the playoffs at 9:23 with an assist from none other than Nathan McKinnon. At that point, the game is 2-zip Avalanche. And then Nick Paul, his 4th of the playoffs at 12:26, makes a beautiful individual play, goes forehand, backhand, forehand, and chips the puck past Darcy Kemper with assists from Point and Hedman. Also worth noting right there, that is Braden Point's first point of the playoffs. He is back from injury for Tampa Bay. And then at near the end of the first period, Lehkonen, who was the series-winning goal scorer for the Avalanche, he puts one in for his 7th of the playoffs, a power play goal assisted by Landeskog and Rantanen. So 3-1 heading into the second. and then it's all Tampa Bay in the second period. Andre Palat is ninth of the playoffs at 12:51. Assists from McDonough and Nikita Kucherov. And then, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, not even 1 minute later, at 13:39, Sergachev, his second of the playoffs with assists from Anthony Cirelli and Hagel. That made it 3-3. Your shot totals, it's double digits every period for Colorado. 15 in the first, 10 in the second, 12 in the third, 37 shots total. Tampa Bay, single digits, interestingly, in every period. 8, 9, and 5, resulting in a total of 22 shots on frame. John, I know you're still on mute. You can overrule me at any time, my friend. I hope you're getting some rest for the vocal cords and a little bit of H2O. I'll just mention some broad team stats as well. Face-offs heavily in favor of the visiting Tampa Bay Lightning. 61% success rate for them as opposed to 39% on the other side. And notably, a lot of those face-off wins have come in the offensive zone for Tampa Bay. Power plays 0 for 3 for Tampa. 1 for 3 right now for the Avalanche. Of course, they are on the man advantage when we start the overtime period for about, I believe it's 28 seconds or so. Hits are almost even. There's definitely been physicality to note in this game. Josh Manson of the Avalanche and his teammate Cale Makar. Number 8 for Colorado is basically doing it all. Speed, skill, stick handling, hockey sense, ice awareness, back checking, forechecking, pass, shot, whatever you need to happen. Mikhail Makar can do it. Oh, and by the way, he can lay the body as well. So that's what we got so far. And again, I'm just going to take another quick break here, catch my breath, have a sip of water. John, if you're back, feel free to jump back in. But thanks to the folks who are with us. We're looking forward to a very, very exciting overtime period here in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. It's the Avs and the Bolts coming up in just minutes.
Thank you very much for that, Cooper. I know it takes me a little bit extra to get everything going and moving here with the cerebral palsy, so I'm very happy to get an extended break here. But again, it's one of those situations where it's been excellent. 3-3. We've just ended regulation here. And again, I will have full game coverage here for you with the play-by-play for both of us between myself and Cooper Hopkins, who I'm very, very happy to join me here for Game 1. Again, my goal is to at least get him for another game where we can call a closeout, which would be very, very cool. Because again, we're probably going to get into a situation where obviously we can't cover every game together, but I will have coverage for you. I'm going to be doing play-by-play of every single game in this series. It's going to be at hopelesssportsguy.wordpress.com. So if you want that coverage with the complete play-by-play, it's going to be there for you. And as I always do, I try not to make too many edits or anything else like that. It's just us naturally going back and forth, try to do the best we can with it. I think that's the most important thing. It's good practice and hopefully get some coverage here because, let's face it, ColorCast's a great app and all that stuff, but there's not a lot of hockey coverage in here. So hopefully it's a chance for both of us to be passionate about it, bring some of this stuff to you, and just enjoy what we're doing. We're enjoying this Game 1 right now. So as we've talked about, it's one of those situations, and Cooper, I was hearing him breaking down some of this stuff as I was going in as far as the goals and everything else that's happened. Again, it's important that Tampa Bay kills off these about 35 seconds of power play time. Once that's done, and this game can kind of get squared away, again, if you're unfamiliar with overtime, it's pretty much no commercials. The only time you're going to get a stoppage there is about the halfway point in the period, assuming no one scored. It's sudden death. So if it gets to the halfway point in the period, no one still scored, we get the momentary ice scrapage. And we will be here until this game is over. If there is any situations where Cooper Hopkins, because of work and sleep and things like that, needs to figure out a way, then again, I can finish off the rest of it, but hopefully the game doesn't go too long. I don't want to keep you around here too long.
Oh, John, well, let me interrupt you really quickly, my friend. In terms of work, the only work I'm going to be doing is on this game. And
Okay.
sleep, I'm not going to be sleeping until this thing is over. I don't care if we go into a quad overtime. Give me 5. Give me the cinco. We're going to go for the long haul, my friend. And the way these two teams are playing, that might be in the cards. I mean, they have the skill to finish this thing quickly, especially with the power play. Make no mistake. But this thing's been really even. We might have a lot of extra time here, John.
Let's see, a 6. That's what Blake is saying. And dude, I don't think my voice is going to be able to make it that long. But the best part is Cooper Hopkins is able to, just like I am, he does a better job than I do on the play-by-play because I don't have the velvet voice. But we could go back and forth in terms of if I'm getting tired, he can kind of pick up some of that call. So we can reverse roles pretty well, which is what makes it a good broadcasting tandem. So hopefully not 6 OTs, because when I got to the third overtime in the opening round against Pittsburgh and New York, I didn't think I was going to make it.
Yeah, I think, Blake, listen, bud, you're going to get called into action. If we hit 6 overtimes, I'll be tapped out by the end of overtime number 4. So you're going to have to step in for OTs 5 and 6. It's a team effort, my friend. I just want to give credit to you. Thanks for hanging out with us. John's been doing a great job on the goal calls. I mean, I'm just seeing on the ESPN package here the highlights of the skills Sergachev with his laser that went post, and then into the net. We've had a little bit of everything, and as I like to joke around and say, which is true, we even had a little replacement glass put in during a break tonight. So it's been a fantastic game. Hockey fans, neutral fans everywhere are really getting, I think, what everyone hoped. High-level goalie play, great stick handling, great offensive zone time, great movement from both teams. Really no outright fall-on-your-face mistakes. And, John, I'm going to let you take it away shortly because as these pom-poms are being waved high in the air at Ball Arena, we're about to drop the puck for overtime here in Game 1.
Yes, and the 5 overtime reference that you're putting out there, Blake, was Jonas Korpisalo against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was an NHL save record for Korpisalo. And who knows, like Cooper said, you might see something go into multiple OTs, but I can't imagine more than 2 or 3 if it does. But most important by now is the 30 seconds to kill, because it could end it right now. Colorado's got the fresh sheet of ice and the fresh legs. I assume they're going to be aggressive. Near the right dot in the high slot now for McCarr. Slap shot set up for McKinnon. It's loose out in front, and it found McDonough's stick, and it was cleared down the ice. And Kel McCarr can reset this thing with 10 seconds remaining here on the Avalanche power play. Again, he's really turning on those Jets. You want to be aggressive here with this power play at the fresh ice. McCarr driving. Now he's toward the right dot. He's going to leave it here for McKinnon. Couple of series of moves. He's going to leave this one back here for Taves. McKinnon gets set up again. This gets blocked. Now Tampa can reset this thing, try to get out and get their lines corrected here. And if they do take a change, they got to be quick about it because they're just coming off of the penalty kill part of it. So 19 minutes. There's just a minute left to go. That was gone from the overtime. Maroon trying to make a couple individual moves, try to get around Taves. And I think he could have been hooked there, but he still was able to stay with the puck as he kept it to Hedman. Near the blue line side. What a stop there by Kemper as he was diving around like a fish out of water, but the puck stays out. And another good move by Nichushkin, but it was turned over. It's bounced out in front, and they pass eludes Nichushkin, but it's intercepted. There's a chance for Copper. Leaves it across, scores! Colorado! Andre Burakovsky ends it in OT.
Blake, my friend, I'm so sorry. It's not going to be 6 OTs tonight. Burakovsky finishes decisively for Colorado. Vasilevsky and his teammates skate off to the room. 4-3 your final. Just a couple minutes of overtime. And boy, oh boy, gentlemen, isn't that the way it always goes? Had we gotten 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes into this overtime, you would have had to say it's likely to go into several extra periods. But we are on the other side of that spectrum. In these the Stanley Cup Finals in the NHL, if you're finishing it off, it's going to be early or really late, and we get it early. What a beautiful sequence right there. Colorado had built momentum. They carried it from period to period, and they, even though it wasn't on the power play, they find a way to get it done. 4-3 in overtime. What a contest, and a huge home win for the Avs.
There was no doubt about it. We talked about in the intermission going into the OT, those 30 seconds are going to turn out to be very important. Look, I know it didn't happen in the 30 seconds, but Cooper, didn't it really feel like after that power play was over that Colorado still had all of that momentum and used that fresh sheet of ice and made it count early, didn't they?
Absolutely, yes, they did. And I'm just getting a look at the replay here. Great zone entry by, guess what, John? This is somebody that we mentioned a couple times tonight. J.T. Comfort starts the play, fires the first shot, actually, who pushed the defenders, including Hedman, deep toward the red line, deep in their own zone, had to go down on a knee. Now they're trapped near the crease. Vasilevsky has to commit. The pass goes across to Burakovsky, and he makes no mistake, fires it into the open side of the net, and all the big cat can do is look behind him as 95 for the Avs pumps his fist from a knee. What a sequence. And man, oh man, I hope JT Comfort gets some interview time with the media tonight. I think he should be one of the 3 stars. And it is 1-0 in this series. Colorado doing what they need to do at home. What a performance.
I know he wouldn't get this label, but I can tell you if he plays this way within the next however many games this series will go, he'd be a low-key mention for a Conn Smythe for the way that he played like that. As you said, a very expertly set sequence that will set up Burakovsky. It's over there. And again, if a microcosm happens in between this game and the rest of this series is going to be like this, we are in for a treat. Unfortunately for everybody, we have to wait until Saturday until Game 2. I will be with you here on the call. Cooper and I will be in communication and try to do as many games as we can do together. But again, I'm going to imagine we're going to get at least a couple more. I'm going to make sure that I try to get Cooper in on a closeout. And if I need to send money for time and effort to try to make sure he gets in the call with me, I'm going to do so because I want to be able to call a winner here with somebody. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in here on the broadcast. I'm going to get this story and everything else written up with the play-by-play, and I will see you back here on Saturday.
I love it. Last comments from me, John. Thanks again for having me on this call. Always happy to be with you side by side, even though we're many miles apart. And this is just a fantastic experience, and it's got to be pure elation in Ball Arena right now. Those fans waving the white pom-poms. What a memory. I mean, a 4-3 overtime win. Andre Burakovsky with his first career playoff overtime goal. It's a GWG. Game 2, oh my goodness. We can expect more of the same, I believe. I'm so happy to have been here with you. I hope everyone reads your coverage, hears the call, and my friend, you and I will certainly be in touch. Great job tonight, and wow is all I can say. What a game. 4-3 the final.
Thank you, Cooper, man. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. Thanks, John, and we'll do it on Saturday.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right.
And I thought everybody's story was going to be written for them tonight, but heck of a game, and I think Tampa will be a lot better with 2 days off going into game 2. Emotionally, how important was this win? Because we all know Tampa knows how to win these types of games.